Good morning and welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Pop Talk. I'm your host, Mike. This morning, I have a lineup of articles to talk about. Some related to Lord of the Rings, some related to Frost, some related to God of War, Ragnarok, and another article related to the revival of Daredevil. But I am not alone this morning. Joining me on the panel this morning is Deleted Scenes. Welcome, Deleted Scenes.
Good morning, Pacific. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you are.
I am. Fairly partly cloudy. I'm up and around. I can't believe that I'm up and around because I was streaming all night, but I'm good to go.
I know what you mean. I've had those days where you're streaming on one stream to the next stream, and by the time it's all over, you look at the time and you go, I need to get some sleep and get
Yeah,
something to eat.
indeed.
And before I continue on, I'm going to change things up just a little bit. Instead of reading the first article and then allowing people to join the panel, I'm going to go ahead and post the link in the chat. So if anybody would like to join Deleted Scene and I here on the panel this morning, you are more than welcome to. Just remember, I may throw in some baseball reference because, as I like to say, I'm not just a baseball guy, I'm an all around guy, but don't be surprised if I throw one in. So, our first article that, excuse me, that we have here this morning comes to us from Bounding in the Comics. And it's Viggo Mortensen questioning what source material Amazon is using for the Rings of Power. So here is the article. And another thing I like to do for anyone who is new here to Pop Talk is I also like to post a link to the very same article I am reading. This way you can follow along or read it at your own leisure. And I do want to welcome Captain Fandom Nerd, formerly known as Captain Trek. Captain, if you'd like to join, the link is in the chat. Okay, so this article was posted on the 19th, and it's by John F. Trent. And the article headline says this: The Lord of the Rings actor Viggo Mortensen questions what source material Amazon is using for the Rings of Power series. The Lord of the Rings actor Viggo Mortensen, who played Aragorn in Peter Jackson's trilogy beginning with the Fellowship of the Ring, recently questioned what source material Amazon was allowed to use for their upcoming The Rings of Power series. All right, I went too far. There we go. Mortensen was asked about The Rings of Power in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter while promoting his latest film, Crimes of the Future. When first asked about the show and if he planned on watching it, Mortensen replied, "What is that? The TV thing? Is it with Apple or something?" The Hollywood Reporter's Alex Rittman would inform Mortensen the show is being made by Amazon and is thought to be the most expensive TV series ever made. Mortensen responded, "All right, yeah, I'll watch that." And before I continue any further, let's welcome into the panel Cashmoney. Welcome, Cash.
Hello.
I'm sure you're doing well this morning. After all, your Dodgers seem to be on a roll.
They're doing great right now. Yep.
Eh, Can't blame you. All right. The article continues by saying he then questioned, but do you know what source material they're using? What were they allowed to use? Rittman would indicate he didn't know what source material they were adapting, but did inform Mortensen that the show is taking place thousands of years before The Lord of the Rings, and that Isildur, and I always mispronounce that one, so I do apologize, is one of the main characters. Mortensen simply replied, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it'll be fun to see." While the Hollywood Reporter's Alex Rittman didn't know the source material they are adapting, the Rings of Power showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay revealed Amazon only has the rights to The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Return of the King, The Appendices, and The Hobbit. Payne explained, "We have the rights solely to The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Return of the King, The Appendices, and The Hobbit, and that is it. We do not have the rights to the Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, The History of Middle Earth, or any of those other books. So then my question is, why are you writing a series?" All right. Let me go ahead and continue on. I was just checking a message that just popped up. Sorry about that. So it says, so Amazon does not actually have the Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, or the History of Middle Earth books that extensively cover the Second Age, the period of Middle Earth Amazon announced their show will take place in. So some lies and deception. Despite not having these rights, McKay believes it won't be a problem. There's a version of everything we need for the Second Age in the books we have the rights to. As long as we're painting within those lines and not egregiously contradicting something we don't have the rights to, there's a lot of leeway and room to dramatize and tell some of the best stories that Tolkien ever came up with, he added. Article continues by saying, however, the show's first trailer directly contradicts these statements. As an example, Gadriel is now the commander of the Northern armies. In Tolkien's books, Gadriel was never depicted as a soldier leading soldiers into battle, as the trailer shows. Instead, she did look upon the dwarves also with the eye of a commander, seeing in them the finest warriors to pit against the orcs, as Tolkien noted in the Unfinished Tales. Looking at something with the eye of a commander and being a commander are two different things. Goes on to say, on top of this, the Northern Army mentioned in Tolkien's works was created by King Andor. Again, some of these names I will mispronounce, and I do apologize. And led by him when he defended Gondor from invasion by the Wainriders, Aravion. Orndor's creation of this northern army and its use in defending against the Wainriders was also detailed in Unfinished Tales. And okay, what do you guys make of Mortensen's comments and also finding out that Amazon doesn't exactly have the rights to what they proclaim to have the rights to? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just.
Yeah.
Go ahead, deleted.
Oh, what do I think? Well, because I don't want to come off too negative on something that clearly we haven't seen yet.
Right, I agree.
This has train wreck written all over it, and I think Viggo Mortensen sees that too. I know.
How about you, Cash?
Well, go ahead, deleted. Okay.
Wow. I mean, I have to question any multi-million-dollar show
Hello? Oh.
Steven, you there?
Okay, that was and silence. And he'll be back.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
And he's back. Okay.
Lost connection. Oh, okay.
It happens, man. It's all right. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
You got the floor. Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay. what I was about to say is based on everything that I've personally seen about this series, it looks like it's going to be a train wreck. I think Viggo Mortensen sees that too. I got to question uh, the validity of any multi-million-dollar television show where the showrunners have less IMDb credits than I do. you know, um, and I know I didn't want to bring up Star Trek, but I'm about to bring up Star Trek, but I'm going to do
Go,
it and make
go
a point
ahead.
here. Um,
Talk your mind. Talk your piece.
you know, you can't expect fiction out of a writer that's only written like a couple of episodes of the Gilmore Girls. What qualifies them to write Star Trek or to write Lord of the Rings? Now, I mean, I've seen the trailer for Lord of the Rings. It looks pretty. Um, I also know that you know anytime anytime the producers say, "Well, we want to make it for today's audience," that's a red flag. Now, Viggo Mortensen, and I'm not claiming to speak for Viggo Mortensen. I'm taking a wild guess here. You know, he and the people who worked on the Peter Jackson films, they worked their butts off to come as close to the source material as they possibly could. And did they get everything right? No, they didn't get everything right, but they got most of it right, and they took pride in that. There's no pride being taken in this show. The show is a cash grab, and I think Viggo Mortensen sees that.
Yeah, and he's trying to be as diplomatic as
Oh
possible when
yeah,
it comes to answering questions about it.
sure. But I mean, obviously, based on this article, he's out of the loop completely as far as what's going on with the show, and that concerns me because that I'd also be very curious to see if the showrunners have approached Peter Jackson in any way for hey, you were the one who took the deep dive into this world first.
Hmm.
Could you give us any pointers? Could you point us in the right direction? Can you show us what we're doing wrong? You know, have someone who's there as a because this quote unquote a token consultant that they have, I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth because I've seen her in interview situations, and this show is not in good hands, and it's too bad, and it's going to be another franchise that's going to bite the dust because they feel like they need to put all of these 2022 politics and tropes into it, and it's going to date the material.
Hmm.
People are going to remember the films, especially the first trilogy. I know people are kind of back and forth on the Hobbit trilogy, and I understand it's not as good, but that original Lord of the Rings trilogy, that's not going to be touched. That's going to be remembered 50 years down the line as the classic that it is.
Yeah, it is a classic. And this is
This
coming
this
from
show's
someone
going to
who
die.
only watched them last year for the first time. I've
Huh?
watching them last year and I'm going, why did I go see these when they were out in the theater?
Yeah, I mean, going to the theater to see these movies, that was an event, because you got to remember this was, they did what they tried to do with the Disney trilogy for Star Wars, and where it was one movie one year, then the second one the next, and so on, and that was an event. you know,
And it was.
and, I went to Return of the King. I went to a midnight showing. This is a 3.5 hour movie. The theatrical version is near 3.5 hours. I went to a midnight showing, and that theater was packed.
I believe
And
it.
I think that was the last time I was in a theater where every seat was filled. Well, maybe Endgame, but you know, you have a Lord of the Rings TV show in the hands of people who I don't think understand respect to material, and there's just way too much of that in Hollywood right now. And when we spoke during the pre-show, I said the one thing I didn't want to do was bring up Star Wars or Star Trek, and here I am, 15 minutes in, and I've already brought up both. But I do. My point was I see the same thing happening with this Lord of the Rings show that happened with Star Wars. That's happening with Star Trek. And I don't like saying that because obviously we have seen nothing but that one trailer. But this is not boding well. And Viggo Mortensen in this article, he's asking the questions the showrunners should be asking. And they're not. They're just like, oh, let's just throw a lot of money at it, and we'll do our own thing, and we're not going to read it, and we're not going to watch what's been done before, and uh, it's it's sad. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's great, but I'm not feeling it.
And it it's one of those things where it's just going to be, a wait and see type of attitude with this show because we do have to wait and see what we get come September.
Yeah.
How about you, Cash?
Well, Viggo Mortensen can be very harsh, but I'm sure he's right about this. He was very harsh on Peter Jackson when he felt he was using too much CGI with the prequel Lord of the Ring films, and he's just asking the same questions a lot of people do. The problem is these people come out and these studios, especially lately, and they like to have these mixed messages. Like we have to figure out the maze, and we need to that's basically the question is why do we need to figure out some maze? And we don't know what this is going to be like, but there's been a lot of mixed messaging, and I still have this feeling for some reason Jeff Bezos wants to make this more of a Lord of the Rings type series, which I think is a horrible idea because Lord of the Rings make it more of a Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings are two different properties. So
Mhm.
I don't feel, and he said that I'm worried also that this is going to be some kind of message in your face. We're going to have to feel lectured. There's going to be check boxes. I think that's all possible. Now, I could be wrong, and we don't know until we try it or watch it, but Amazon just they can be a mess just like Netflix, just like Disney, just like DC, but we'll see if DC is getting better under Discovery, but it's worrisome because I hate seeing I don't know if they're going to respect the author and his son, who of course the son had passed away just a few years ago.
Hmm.
I'm still worried about it, but we'll see what happens. We don't know, but there's been so many mixed messages from Amazon, and even in that trailer, it's like, well, am I going to care about these characters? It's going to be interesting to see. So, but Viggo Mortensen can be very outspoken. He was with Peter Jackson. He felt he was using too much CGI with the Hobbit trilogy, and I think it's good that he's questioning this. So it's a wait and see approach.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another problem that they have in Hollywood these days is they keep trying to look for the next Game of Thrones, and I know this might be a bit of a hot take with some people. Game of Thrones was not that good, in my opinion. It had moments. They whiffed at the ending because they didn't have one written for them to begin with, which was another problem. Um, if you try to fit some sort of a Game of Thrones storyline into Lord of the Rings, it's not going to work. They're two very different. They're two very different animals, and and like I said, in my opinion, Game of Thrones was not really that good. It had moments. There are certain episodes that stick out in people's minds, but with me personally, most of it went in one ear and out the other. It wasn't very memorable. It was something that HBO threw a lot of money at, just like Amazon is throwing a lot of money at this. You know, they say, "Well, let's go and make our own Game of Thrones." But you got to think of what made Game of Thrones work and what didn't. You know,
Sure, there's a certain formula to any TV show or movie that either it'll work or it won't.
yeah, but it's that whole, if you forget the mistakes of the past, you'll make them again in the future. And I think that's going to happen here too. I, like I said, I'm not feeling the show. I'm not. I mean, I should be. Hey, Game of Thrones TV series, great. I'm not feeling it.
I mean,
That's me.
at this
I hope I'm wrong.
at this point, everything I've been reading about the reigns of power, it just makes me want to stick to the movies.
Same, same.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, not not really. Um, I wish I was hyped for this.
Me too.
I'm
But
not. I'm not.
I'm probably gonna try it. There's other people that I'll watch it with, I guess, but it's just a
Oh yeah,
mess.
I mean, no, I'd be willing to give it a try and
Yeah.
give it an honest opinion, but it's this is something I should be jumping for joy over, and I'm just sitting here going, why? You know?
Well, a lot of studios nowadays are not like, well, we want to honor the material that came before it. So it's just like there. It's more like, well, we want to, or they'll say something and then it'll be a bait and switch to an extent. I don't know. It's just a mess. But I can just see that a lot of these properties moving forward, including Lord of the Rings, could, I can't say for sure, but could have a message, some kind of stupid lecture that, listen to this and this is what's happening, blah blah blah. But who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what angers me the most is the fact that I don't like being lectured by people who have no right to be giving anybody any lectures.
Mhm.
It's like, look to your own house before you tell me what to do in mine. You know,
Yep.
I don't feel, and this is going to be another hot take. I know.
Go
Um,
ahead. It's allowed. I allow folks to say whatever's on their mind.
okay, Hollywood, and I know I'm being a bit general because this clearly isn't everybody in Hollywood, but this is a lot of people who are, as far as I'm concerned, the powers that be inside Hollywood right now have no right to be talking down or lecturing to us. I understand that you think you're revolutionaries, fighting racism, fighting Yazis, but you're not. You're not very smart. You never were. You have no idea what you're talking about or who you're talking to or what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You're in a bubble. You're told you're brilliant. And every once in a while, in between doing drugs and I'll use this term, graping one another, occasionally you do come up with something brilliant. Now all you do is pick at the bones of something that was once brilliant, like a Lord of the Rings, like a Star Trek, like a Star Wars. Um, I was never a fan of Doctor Who, but I know a lot of people who were. So I know how devastating that last season was to that franchise. You know, you take an episode, for example, like Timeless Children, where you changed the entire, you retcon the entire canon of a 60-year running show. You do that, you don't expect backlash. You know, you go after the fans, you call them racists and sexist, and oh, you're just too unintelligent to understand our brilliance. You want to know why I got rid of my DirecTV subscription? That's why.
I don't blame you.
You know, why spend money for 600 channels of everybody talking down to you and telling you that you're the villain?
And see, as someone who's worked in retail knows, you never badmouth the customer. You want the
Never.
customer to come into your store and shop at your store because ultimately it's the customer who is helping to pay your weekly paycheck or bi-weekly paycheck, your salary. They're the ones that you depend on in good times and in bad times.
I thought exactly.
And I do want to say hello to Anono Mass. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, guys. Sorry to pop in on you right in the middle of a
in the middle of my rant. You know, I promised three things in the pre-show. I wasn't going to talk about Star Wars. I wasn't going to talk about Star Trek, and I wasn't going to go off on a rant. And I did all three in less than a half hour. So I'm not doing too well right now.
Never promised.
It's okay, brother. It's okay. It's just making me think if I should create a clip of a referee from the NFL going false start.
False start.
Number 55, defense. 5-yard penalty.
Well, you did say be honest, and
I know. I have an open policy here. Be yourself. Speak your mind. Don't hold back. Trust me, I don't hold back. Cash could tell you. Anono Mass could tell you.
Yep.
Yeah.
No reason to hold back.
Anono Mass, do you have any thoughts on the Reigns of Power and Viggo Mortensen questioning about the source material?
Well, my thought when I first initially heard about this was the man played in one of the greatest films in the history of the cinema. And I'm sure he is deathly proud of what he did and what they did as a story, and how they stuck to Tolkien's vision the best that they possibly could. And when he sees, all he has to do is see the trailer to know what they're doing is complete crap. So, and I'm sure he doesn't want to come out and just rip at a new one, diplomatic and all that sort of thing. He probably still needs jobs, but this is probably his, what would you call it? It's his way. It's mealy mouth way of coming out and criticizing it without actually criticizing it. He knows it's crap. He wants to get his 2 cents in, but he doesn't want to, tick too many people off.
Yeah, he doesn't want to alienate any future job opportunities.
Yeah, and self-preservation is a very strong thing, especially in Hollywood, because if you have different views from those in power, you tend to want to keep that secret. That's why you don't see very many conservative or right wing or even sometimes even middle of the aisle actors and producers and stuff come out and say stuff.
No, they keep themselves quiet and they just go on about their business.
Yep. Just give me the next job.
They don't want to stir up the hornet's nest.
Well, it's bad for their career.
Yeah.
If it was 25 years ago, sure, he probably would have come out and was like, what the crap are they doing? This is just raping Tolkien. What are you doing? But he would never say that now.
Oh no. Not with all the backlash that he would receive. And
I can't help but think even Ian McKellen or any of them really looking at this and be thinking that this is a good thing. How could they think that? They know better. Especially Ian McKellen. He's a big Tolkien fan.
Well, I think a few months back, Ian McKellen did say something about the Rings of Power.
Yeah, we remember that.
We just don't know we just don't know for sure until it comes out in September. So it could be a train wreck. It could be somewhat decent. Who knows?
You're
could be better than that.
optimist.
I'm just saying it's just I personally have low expectations about it, but give it a chance, I guess, and see what happens. And if it's horrible, then you just go, well, here, another one bites the dust, sadly. So we'll see, though. I'm trying to be a little bit more optimistic. Usually I just throw this stuff in the trash and burn it.
Yeah, for this sort of thing, they need to lose their shirts. They need to that was it 500 billion? $500 billion?
500 billion or 500 billion? Just a whole lot of money. More money than I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Maybe it's 500. Well, I wouldn't say 500 million because that don't sound like for a TV show it kind of does, but they spent a crap ton of money on this show and the rights and everything. And if it bombs, if it's crap, it needs to bomb hard. It needs to absolutely lose almost every penny they put into it. And what Jeff Bezos says, if this doesn't do well, then we're not making original content anymore. Fine. Just everybody needs to just rail against it, make videos, get on Twitter, whatever you got to do. And they don't get, any views whatsoever almost and lose their shirt.
Yep. Money will speak volumes. So it'll either, help the show or not help the show. And what I mean by not help the show is, if they don't receive any new Prime customers from this, then they're going to be out of luck. There are going to be customers who are going to say, you know what? Amazon is raising prices to fund a show like this. Well, I'm not going to support Amazon and buy products from their website.
Yeah. And they won't ever release the numbers of how many people viewed this, which I hate that. I freaking hate that. I would love to know what these shows actually get in terms of viewers. But if it does bad, they won't release it. If it does good, sure, they'll be right out there to tell you. But
they'll be praising it to high heaven and going, look at what we did. Look at this wonderful show that we produced. And
most popular show. We got so many views. Look at our graphs. It's woo right off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they won't say nothing if it sucks. But yeah,
So I think we all have, the same thought in mind. We really don't know what we're getting until we actually see it, and there's a good chance it could be a flop.
yeah. Well, wait and see. I'll I'll watch I'll watch the first episode, maybe second. It just depends. I mean, if it's as bad as Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, right out of the gate, then I'm assuming it's going to be worse. Star Trek was so bad.
You know, I was telling Steven, I watched the first episode that was available here on YouTube, and I had to turn it off. I'm like, this is crap.
Oh, I don't blame you. I do videos on stuff. I've reviewed a few TV shows and I just make fun of stuff, but I've never made a video. My longest video before this one was like 15 minutes. And that was long for me. Usually it's like 5-10 minutes or something, This one took me 25 minutes. This is the longest video I ever did. There was so much crap, and I had 5 pages of script that I wrote with all the stupid crap in this show.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane. It's ridiculous.
For me, whenever I'm watching a new show, I try to give it at least a 3-episode limit to say whether I'm going to continue reviewing the show or I'm going to say no more. Now, there have been exceptions. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, 1 episode, I said I'm done. Batwoman, 1 episode, I said I'm done.
I didn't even watch a Batwoman.
Loki, 1 episode, I said I was done. And with Batwoman and Loki, I watched 15 minutes of Loki and 20 minutes of Batwoman and said, nah, I'm out.
How did you make it through 20 minutes of Batwoman and only 15 minutes of Loki?
I guess it's because I'm a Cub fan and I'm used to seeing things just fall apart.
Oh god, I was out of Batwoman the moment I saw that trailer. I was no.
I watched 3 minutes of Batwoman one time, and I noticed about a dozen things wrong with it.
It don't take long.
Yeah, no, it didn't take long at all. I first started getting into it, and I'm about to go off on another story here, real quick. I first really started getting into YouTube when Midnight's Edge started doing their stories about Fan Stick, and going. And at first, I had a hard time believing them, and I go, come on. I mean, how bad could it? Can't be that bad. It couldn't have been that chaotic behind the scenes. I mean, there's no way. And then you see what the final product was, and you went, oh my God, they were absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that was kind of my entryway into YouTube, and realizing just how far down the creek Hollywood was starting to go. And then you had the double whammy of here's another thing I wasn't going to bring up, but here I am going to bring up Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh,
and then that was, and then that's when I started to realize what the problems were. And here I am in 2022, and they're still happening.
They're still happening, and even though some people say, there looks like there's going to be an end in sight, you could also look at it the same way and say, I don't see a light at the end of this tunnel. Not yet, at least.
Well, I mean, I do see a light at the end of the tunnel, because there are original television and original movies that are good. I just finished an Amazon series called Outer Range, which was very good. I thought The Northman was really good. So there is hope. you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a little tiny speck of one, but I see it. That
Yeah.
there is going to be, as some people on YouTube have said, a final read, and that hasn't happened yet. So I'm worried about what other franchises could still go down in the meantime. If not Lord of the Rings, hopefully not Lord of the Rings, but it probably will be. You know, as we're about to see with this second story, we got Daredevil's moving to Disney Plus, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that
Say la
worries me.
vie, Daredevil. Say la vie.
But we'll
It's,
see. There's the story.
well,
I don't want to
I,
jump ahead.
I can tell you guys this: the one season of Batwoman, which my brother and I watched, the best things about that was not much. The two supporting characters, Kate Kane's father in that, and then Lucius's Fox in that first season, were the only two things that were good. Batwoman's relationships were terrible. The whole thing about the Alice in Wonderland stuff was awful. But my brother and I, we watched the whole season of that. Didn't touch season 2. We were just done. But the the funny thing is that CW has had some actually surprisingly good crossovers with some of their shows, but to sit there and I would say not to watch a whole season of Batwoman because it was just all over the place and there was a lot of boredom in there but it did work for Lucius Fox. And now I guess then they went with Batwoman. Of course, that got 3 seasons before it finally got canceled. And but season 1 was overall a pretty big mess, except for 2 characters. And it was like, wow, the supporting characters in the show are more interesting than the main characters. That's a problem. So
It's a big
it
problem.
should be a balance. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, Cash, are currently going through season 4 of Next Generation for Tuesday Night Trek, and
Yes.
the main characters and supporting characters are all as important as you could expect.
Yes.
The supporting character doesn't take away from the main character. If anything, the supporting character added to the storyline, as we see with Barkley. And
Yeah. Well, it's like, you have right now Daredevil, and I'm finally watching Daredevil with some friends. And it's I've put in 2 seasons and then I'm going through Luke Cage and before that Jessica Jones and you go through the order. So I'm still working on that, but if they can't follow the violence and the banter and they're not willing to make certain jokes, this season 4 is not going to work. If they basically make Daredevil a PG-13 instead of TVMA, basically, or TV-14, whatever, it's just not going to work very well. It has to be violent, and there has to be banter, there has to be inappropriate stuff, there has to be evil characters. It's just, yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. This was rumored before, and so now it's finally happening. And if they bring back the characters, which I would think they have to,
I wonder if Disney is going to make it TVMA, because
No.
the last time I ever logged on to my Disney Plus account, which was a long while ago, it asked me to confirm my age.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if they are going to have, more restrictive adult content.
Do they have any now?
Yes, they have all the Marvel shows now. They added all the Luke Cage and Daredevil. That's all TVMA. The only thing that they have changed is they took out 2 tributes for some reason. One for this black actor, I can't think of his name, and then a Stan Lee tribute. They took out. Yeah. But everything else is the same.
And real quick,
So when you watch it on Disney Plus, it's still the same. Same dialogue, the same inappropriate jokes, which is great. And yes.
Well, they may make. I know they had a standing, rule that they don't do that, but they may. It could go either way. They could have made an exception just to have this stuff on their streaming service because they need content, and and they may make the new Daredevil the same way, or they could absolutely shred it. Yeah, they should, but
yeah,
how far are they willing to go? Or that's the big question.
And real quick, I just want to read this comment from Captain Fandom Nerd. He says, "I want to join you guys again on Tuesdays." And Captain, after this last Tuesday's show, that's one of the things that we were talking about. We would like to have a show where we're all able to be there. All of us who have joined the panels, we're all able to be there all at once. Mm-hmm. That's one of the main things we were talking about. Because we all feel that we have good chemistry. And we all feel that if everybody's able to be there, Paul, Cash, Spock, myself, Nerdporial, Brandon, Baron, Crit, if we're all able to be there, then we could have one heck of a good time going over the block of 5 episodes that we talk about. And I know Paul wants you on there, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, shifting gears to this story from Superhero Hype, as you have all already seen with it on the screen, but real quick, let me put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to follow along. It says Marvel lines up writers for a Daredevil revival series. Now, before I say anything, I'm going to read the article, but I do have some thoughts just based on that headline alone. Okay. Article says Old Hornhead is officially on his way back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Several months after Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio reprised their Daredevil roles in 2 different MCU projects, Marvel Studios, per Variety, has put a new show-running team in place for the goes on to say, to write the new series, Marvel has enlisted the team of Matt Corman and Chris Ord, who previously created USA's Covert Affairs. Corman and Ord will follow in the footsteps of Drew Goddard and Stephen S. DeKnight, Doug Petrie, and Marco Ramirez, and Eric Olseen, all of whom served as showrunners for Daredevil when it was on Netflix. Before the streaming service canceled the show, Olsen revealed that he pitched them his own idea for a 4th season. Regardless, it sounds like Marvel is moving in a different direction. It is also unclear if the revival will follow up on season 3's cliffhanger involving Wilson Bethel's Bullseye.
Don't spoil it. Oh, forget it. I haven't watched that one yet. It's okay.
I haven't watched it either, so I'm spoiling it for myself too. Don't worry, Cash. Earmuffs. All right. Goes on to say the original Daredevil series aired 3 seasons on Netflix from 2015 to 2018. Cox headlined the show as Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen who fought criminals by night as Marvel's Man Without Fear. Its cancellation famously stunned viewers, including its own writing staff, due to its consistently positive reviews. It was a good show. And like I said, unfortunately, I never got to season 3. Even while it was still up on Netflix, it's like, I got plenty of time to watch it. What did I know? However, the decision to cancel the show was likely business related. Later reports claimed that when Marvel brokered its deal with Netflix, those characters wouldn't be able to appear in new productions for 2 years in the event of a cancellation. But thankfully, that hurdle was cleared 2 years ago. After 3 years away from the MCU, Cox finally returned to the franchise last December when he made a cameo appearance as Murdoch in Spider Man No Way Home. In the same week, D'Onofrio showed up in the Disney Plus Hawkeye finale, and I did watch Hawkeye, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I really wasn't.
On
I had my
Hawkeye,
issues with it. Yeah,
Home Alone. Yes, Home Alone Hawkeye. Yes,
Yeah, that was
that's
gross.
my friend and I. I watched one episode of that, and then I was like, nope, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, it was
Rumors-
worse. I watched the whole thing.
so did I. I think you and I could trade war stories on Anono
Probably.
Mass.
Yep.
So you survived the show that was Hawkeye. Welcome.
Hawkeye, Kate Bishop show featuring Hawkeye.
Yeah. Which is pretty much all their shows.
Yeah. Just
What? You're not excited about She-Hulk going on Tinder? What are you talking about, Mike?
my gosh.
I thought it was Shrek.
I laughed so hard.
You
don't want to see She-Hulk picking up that man again? Come on, that's so exciting.
I want to see.
I wanna
proper
see the bedroom.
She-Hulk. I want to see proper She-Hulk. Okay.
I want to see him in the bedroom. That's what I want to see. I was like, are you in? No, I can't feel nothing. Oh my God.
I would continue that, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. It's tempting, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, it's laughable. It's just freaking hilarious.
Yeah. All right, so it goes on to say, blah blah blah. Where did I leave off? Oh, it showed up on Disney Plus Hawkeye finale. Rumors about a proper Daredevil revival began circulating in March when a production weekly listing seemed to give away Marvel's plans. There's still no word on which cast members besides Cox might be returning, but presumably we can expect Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Wool to come back as Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, respectively. Are you happy to hear that Daredevil is getting a revival? Only if it's done properly. Which, I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that.
I'm very hesitant. I have no hope. I mean, yeah, you don't have any hope. This is Disney. What show on Disney was any good? You name me one.
My friend and I watch all of Moon Knight, and I was like, and then you wouldn't read the source material. I know I bring that. My friends are always laughing. What about the source material, man? I'm like, yeah. What about the source material? No, but it's just so much better than the series of Moon Knight. It was like there was just so much in that. You're just like, why? The Ethan Hawke was wasted pretty much. You had a dang hippo, which was like one of the gods, and I don't know, or one of the people, like the tour guide or something. It was
even the wrong one too. I think
it was just a freaking hippo. My friend always says the kids got attacked in the cave by the hippo. Did you guys watch all 6 parts of it?
No,
I didn't watch any of it.
Oh, all right.
I watched the first episode.
You're not missing that much. There was surprisingly some good humor in that, but that was the first like Disney Plus show of Marvel I had actually watched all the way through. And I was like, well, this has problems.
In hindsight, I wish I had only watched 3 episodes of WandaVision and stopped. But I kept going.
But WandaVision ties into the multi-universe of madness, so
I mean, WandaVision Part 2.
That's right,
Season
pretty
2?
much.
Pretty
Pretty much, yeah. It's not about Steven and Christine. It's more about. Well, I don't want to spoil it if some of you guys haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I personally don't care. I've seen more of all this. I know exactly what goes on in the movie. I've never seen it, so.
The only Marvel movie that I can say I really enjoyed was No Way Home. So, and that was
Yeah.
Marvel Sony. So
That was Sony. That was what, 75, 80% Sony?
Yeah,
Mhm.
only
Sony and
20% Marvel.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm surprised, to be
that
honest
turned
with
out
you, it's
really
Sony.
well.
I'm surprised it even turned out as well as it did.
It
I mean,
did well.
they still made, Carnage.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Carnage has its problems. Yeah, I don't know. My friend
that
keeps
was the
talking
missed
about the
opportunity.
CGI. Shriek was terrible. I was like, can we throw her out the window? She's awful.
When this,
Well, in my opinion, Sony had 3 good things come out last year.
Yep.
One of them was Ghostbusters Afterlife. The
That
other
made
was
fans
Spider-Man
a
No
lot
Way
happy.
Home.
Yes, that
And
made so much money. Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
and the other item was on the television side, and that was Cobra Kai.
Yes, absolutely. And that new trailer for Cobra Kai looks just like, oh, here we go
Mhm.
again. Let's bring it on. Yep.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but Drunk 3PO posted a video from yesterday's MegaCon in Orlando, and of course Gina was there. But at one point at the end of the video, it's Gina and William Zabka, and they're talking. Cool.
Oh,
nice.
Well, Johnny's never going to tell her to be quiet.
no.
The only problem I have with Gina Carano at the Comic-Con is she's subverting the male gaze. She's not hot enough. She needs to be like not dressed like a hobo.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And hello, Bone. No, it's all right, man. It's all right. Add some levity.
Oh, wow, that took a turn.
I don't even have the proper response, whether it's my own verbal communication or even a video. That. Oh boy.
Derailed the stream. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, I still think
somebody's derailed the stream. That's
I don't know. I still find I would say she's still an attractive woman, but
oh yeah,
I'd take her as She-Hulk.
Yes,
Yeah,
somebody
right now.
made somebody made a picture of her as She-Hulk.
Yep.
Looked good, very good. I was like, yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it. But nope. We get some woman who I don't know what some,
Yeah, Disney and Gina don't really mesh well together.
Nope, they do not.
No.
So no.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next article I want to talk about. And yeah, Steven, I know what you're going to think, but no, I had these articles lined up Thursday and Friday for today's show. So I didn't steal any ideas.
Uh-huh. Sure, dude.
Let me
It's all right.
close this one. And
it's all right if you did.
No, we're not talking about Frostgit. We're not talking about her.
Oh, man.
You will not. If you're jerking off to your girl.
You will. Oh no! You will not sexualize me.
Oh, okay.
Nobody wants to. Nobody.
Nobody does. I'm sorry. Maybe a few people, but it's so funny. I was like, "Oh, good." So G4 became a lecture. But anyways, let's get on to this.
All right. So this article comes from Geek Tyrant, and it's by Jay Roach. It was posted 3 days ago. And it says Margot Robbie set to star in a new Ocean's 11 film.
There's a franchise that needs to die.
No, it's just not. I don't know. This is not. I mean, Margot Robbie also is going to be starting in. She's going to be in Pirates, and I'm like, no, we don't need that. It's not because it's Margot Robbie. It's just we don't need it. That's it. I don't want to see a trailer of that starring Margot Robbie.
No, I don't want to see starring anybody.
After Pirates 5, I was fine with it. Just let it alone. But nope, here we go again. We got to reboot this, and yeah, I don't know. I heard Ocean's 8 though was pretty good. Obviously not as good as the remakes of Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. I know people have mixed feelings about 12, but I still enjoy 12 quite well. I like it a lot still.
I'm going to be
I like
70 years
13
old,
better,
and it's going to
though.
be Ocean's 25. And just
No, I
freaking
don't
quit.
think so.
How many heist movies can they do?
I don't know why we need to do. Is this a girl power thing? Of course it is, but yeah.
Well, I mean, she's going to have a cast of other women, right? I mean, it's just going to be like Ocean's, whatever it was with all the women. It's just a remake of that.
We already had Ocean's 8 Pacific.
That didn't do any good, did it?
It did pretty well, I think,
Did
in the
it?
theater. It turned out pretty good. Pretty good, yeah.
Oh.
But Ocean's 11 now with an all-female cast. Oh, yes. Amazing. Well,
it's just what we were asking for. I thought you and I were asking for it the other day.
Man, we were hoping so much. It's amazing.
Our wishes come true, man. I'm so happy.
I mean, I loved Margot Robbie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was great in that. She's great in a lot of things. I enjoyed her also in Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, but you know, I don't know about this. And she's going to be in the Barbie movie too. Get excited about that.
Yeah, and there's going to be 3 other versions of Barbie, I think.
She going to sing the Barbie girl song?
Lesbian Barbie, trans Barbie.
Oh boy. I mean, whatever. Go nuts, I guess. You know, go crazy.
It's like none of you have actual genitals.
Gosh.
If there's a trans and a lesbian Barbie, none of them have genitals. I'm gonna crap my pants.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, man!
It took another turn.
You're all a bunch of neuters. Just let it die. Come on.
We don't need this reboot of Ocean's 11 starring Margot Robbie.
We don't need any reboot. That's the thing.
We don't need
any reboot.
We don't need it. They rebooted this already from like the very first one that I think had Michael Caine in it, and they did a really good job actually.
So this is not a continuation, not just another. This is a reboot of the original Ocean's 11 with Clooney and Pitt. Right.
Yeah, well, that was actually a reboot. There was actually
that was an older
before that. Right.
They had Frank Sinatra and
yes. Yep.
So are they rebooting the original, or are they rebooting Clooney's?
I think they're probably rebooting Clooney's. I would guess.
Screw you.
Looking at this real quick, it looks like it'll be set in the 1960s, like the original.
Oh, yeah.
So even worse.
More
So they want it. Okay, there's no need for this.
Women.
It's not because it's women. It's just there's no need for this. It's just like saying the whole thing. Oh, well, we need. Well, I guess we did have like a male Xena when we had Hercules, but they played off of each other well. I don't know. It's just sometimes we don't need it if it's for. It's like Ghostbusters. Did we need a female version? Probably not.
No. Nobody wanted it either, obviously.
It's not because they're female. I always want to make that clear. It just may not be a good idea. I know that may hurt someone's feelings, but
listen, if there was no such thing as Ghostbusters before 2016, and this was an absolute new movie with 4 women doing Ghostbusters, what's this Ghostbusters thing? Yep. They probably would have got a better. I mean, the movie is kind of crap. I mean, the jokes and whatnot, but they probably would have got a better reception.
Oh, yeah,
obviously.
I think so. Yeah.
It may have even actually made money, but probably not a ton. I mean, seriously, if you just look at the movie itself, it's hot garbage. But you came out of the gate ticking people off, replacing original characters with a bunch of goofy women that just don't belong in there.
Well, it's a script and I don't know. Crit showed me some of the clips, and I went, "Oh gosh, this is pretty awful."
Have you not seen it?
No, I've only seen clips.
Please watch it for me, Cash. Please watch it. Just and
it can't be as bad as Bad Santa. You went through that.
I went through.
I thought a lot of people like Bad Santa.
No, not Bad. You said Bad Santa. You mean Santa Inc., dude. Ugh.
Oh, Santa Inc.
Whatever.
It's so
There's
terrible.
a big giant difference.
It was so bad I didn't even care to remember the name of the movie.
I don't think I want to watch Ghostbusters 16 though. 2016, I really don't. I think I'd rather put my head through a blender.
Yeah, it's. I laughed one time through the whole movie. I laughed,
Oh wow,
and that
one
was at
laugh.
the very end. It was just some random joke that Chris Hemsworth was a retard in the whole movie, and then like he was eating a sandwich or something, and at the end when it was all over, and like one of the women like pulled the sandwich out of his hand and threw it away, and yelled at him a little bit, and then somebody threw the sandwich back and he caught it, and just I don't know why, but it just like struck me funny. But that's the only freaking time I laughed.
Oh man, and you're trying to push me to watch this movie. I've seen clips.
I want you to hurt. I want you to suffer the way we did.
I'll think about it.
Well, before I read this article, I do want to welcome to the panel Captain Fandom Nerd. Good morning, Captain.
Would be formerly Captain Trek. Would it be?
Yes, it is the former Captain Trek.
I think he's having technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm. He was thinking about Ghostbusters 2016, and all his stuff just got messed up.
Oh yeah.
You've got to be kidding me. You're pushing people to watch 2016.
Morning, Captain.
I
Good
can't.
morning, Captain.
Well, I do have a clip for that. I've got a clip for that. If anybody is pushing anyone to watch 2016 or anything that's not worth watching.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo! I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely.
How's your morning been, Captain?
Pretty good. What about yours?
I can't complain, brother. And before I read the article, I do want to say hello to DJ Ronnie G. Says, hey, Mike, Cash Currency, Anono Mass, and Captain Phantom Nerd. that should be your alternate account, Cash.
I know,
Cash
right?
Currency.
Cash currency. Cha-ching!
All right, so this article says it looks like the Ocean's 11 franchise is going to continue with a new film that's in active development. Margot Robbie is set to star, and it will be directed by Jay Roach, who previously worked with Robbie in the film Bombshell. The script is being written by Kerry Solomon, and the story will be set in Europe in the 1960s. That's all we know about the film so far, but the fact that it's set in the 60s is interesting and definitely different from the previous films that have been made by Steven Soderbergh. But the original film was set in the 60s, so I wonder if this new movie will connect to that somehow. Robbie will also produce with Tom Ackerley alongside Roach and Michelle Graham, Gary Ross, Olivia Milch, and Josie McNamara.
Never heard of these people.
I don't know. I've never heard of them before.
All SJW activists turned writers.
We don't know. Maybe not.
It seems like that's all they hire nowadays. Is
I know.
activists that with two credits or 1 credit to their name. I mean, it could be. I mean, they could be some new up and comers and maybe very good. I don't know. I mean, you can look up their IMDb page, but chances are their work is slim.
And the only other thing they know about this film is that it's looking to start production next year in the spring.
Mm-hmm. It's a short article.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not feeling this. I know there's not much information on it. I'm sure people will be like, "Oh, try, give it a chance." I'm like,
It's all been done.
Yeah, I know. It's all been done, man.
It's all been done.
It's like if you want to watch the
before.
ocean movies, watch 11, 12, and 13.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I do.
The reason why Pacific was saying that he had decided on that story a few days ago is because it was the top story on my show yesterday morning, and the feedback there was pretty much what it's been on this panel. Generally, who cares? You know, we don't know enough about the movie to know if it's just going to be a fun heist movie, which if so, great, or if they're going to fill it up with 22 messaging. We don't know. I had somebody in my chat who complained about why does everything have to have Robbie in it? And I said because right now she's the hot property.
Yes.
You know, you got to think she probably gets sent every script for every female lead, you know, within her age group, you know, and that happens whenever somebody starts to get a little bit of fame. You know, there was a time when they offered Tom Cruise everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they offered Stallone everything, and they offered Meryl Streep everything. And it's just they're just doing that right now with Margot Robbie. It's just that she happens to have these 2 movies and maybe 3 if Pirates happens. Because
and
like I said, I it's like, don't be stupid. Take the job. They're going to throw this money at you.
Yeah.
Make it now while you can. You know.
Yeah.
So the problem isn't her. The problem is the unoriginal content that she's being offered.
Yeah, and she doesn't. The one thing I like about Margot Robbie, at least that I haven't really seen so far, is she doesn't really lecture people. She seems like a down-to-earth woman, but
yeah,
I'm just not excited about these reboots that she's in. It's just not.
She don't mind playing in a movie that does that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Harley Quinn movie was just hot garbage. It was intersectional feminist dribble, and she didn't care to jump into that one. Yeah,
Ewan McGregor was the only good thing in that. Black Mass, that was it. But it's Ewan McGregor, so you know. I remember that was the only good thing I liked about that movie, and I saw that movie for cheap. I didn't think it was going to be.
You watched that, but you wouldn't watch Ghostbusters.
I haven't watched 16, but I did watch Birds of Crap. So yeah.
See, just hypocrisy knows no bounds.
I just was not interested in 2016, man. So
okay, since you endured that one movie, I think you should have to watch the other.
See, now he's on my side. I'm winning.
Oh my gosh, he's winning.
If you said no, I hadn't seen that. Okay, you got
I've also watched Wonder Woman 1984, but that was at home, so
yeah, me too.
Pretty awful.
I watched it too, and I'm going.
First one was
this movie's a train wreck.
Well, the first one was so good.
I didn't watch it. Didn't want to.
It's all right. You're not missing much. They ruined Cheetah, but
we've had Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Drapist.
Yep.
She raped a man.
I know she did. I know my friend likes to bring that up too. My other friend, he says, did you enjoy that? I says, no, I did not. At least Linda Carter popped up at the end, so like
yay.
Yay, that's right. Yep.
Although don't post any gifs of Linda Carter on Twitter. They'll say it's adult content and it has nudity when all it is her running.
What? You can't from the Wonder Woman show, the fun show?
Yeah.
Come on.
From the 70s.
Yeah, but things are getting a little bit better on Twitter. That was before, right?
I'm still not convinced we're in the ninth inning yet.
We're not. We're definitely not in the ninth inning.
No.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So, anybody here a fan of the God of War games?
Yes.
All right.
I have the last one. This one, there's supposed to be some kind of, let's just say less white people.
Oh,
There was white people in God of War.
I know, right? There was a
in
lot of
Greece.
a lot of white. That's right.
Shouldn't they all be like olive
I don't
colored?
know. Sony is such a mess. You guys should look up the whole Insomniac Games nonsense with how they got involved in politics and so on. But whatever. I'm sure. I think you saw that, Pacific. But yeah.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this article was posted on the 19th. It's by Logan Moore, and it says God of War Ragnarok update bodes well for 2022 release.
Isn't that ripping it off?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Ragnarok was a
talking about Thor Ragnarok.
well, it's a
No.
what's
There's been
the
other
Norse? It's a Norse
Oh yeah.
term, not a Greek term. It's a completely different subset of gods.
Yeah, because in the PS4 release of God of War, instead of continuing the Greek god theme, they're now going to Norse god.
Yes, in the fourth one, it's about. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember the main character, but it's the main character and his son.
Odin and Thor.
It's
No.
Kratos and his son.
Kratos, thank you.
Kratos.
Yes.
And there's a fan theory that his son's supposed to be Loki.
Really?
Yeah.
In this one, there's going to be less white people, and people have had very mixed feelings about that because they're like, well, what about the time period in history? And, so we'll see how that turns out. But Sony, from their past history, they don't mind pandering. So
the Norse mythology is now going to be super diverse.
Yes, it's going to be more diverse. Yes, this game is. Yes. From
Thanks, Sony. Thought you would be the one to not do this sort of thing.
Oh, no. They will. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know if it's going to hurt the game, but people are just like, well, the time period, it's like saying, would you throw a white guy in Africa? Just saying. Some random white guy. Hi.
I wonder if their knees hurt too much.
I don't know.
All the butt kissing they do.
No, pretty much.
Yeah, butt kissing. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's whatever the latest trend is. Oh, we got to cater to that. When they don't give a crap about it. They really don't give a crap.
No, there's a lot of missed opportunities with Sony, but we could spend a whole, who knows, week or longer talking about that. There's a lot of games that Sony could be doing that they haven't, and also bringing even more to PC. But it's starting. It's taken a while, but it's starting. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. So this article says it's starting to seem very likely that God of War Ragnarok will end up being released in 2022. Over the past few months, Sony and developer Santa Monica Studio have continued to stress that the sequel to 2018's God of War would be launching before this year comes to an end. Despite this news on the game has continued to remain incredibly quiet, which has led to a number of fans fearing that a delay for Ragnarok would be coming. And while it remains to be seen when the title will actually hit store shelves, a new update on the latest God of War entry today bodes well for its release. Goes on to say, earlier this morning, Santa Monica Studio released a new blog post detailing many of the accessibility features that will be in God of War Ragnarok, the studio specifically outlined a number of features that will be launching with Ragnarok and gave plenty of examples of how these will be implemented. No comments were made about the game's launch date, but that wasn't really the point of the blog. Oh, I mean, still, you want to keep your fans updated and you want to let them at least have some idea when the game's coming out. It's like I'm waiting for 2 freaking Ninja Turtle games to come out. Aren't we, Cash?
Right. Absolutely, man. We're going to storm the YouTube with that. I think with the one will be coming out, though. But
Yeah, we know that Shredder's Revenge will be coming out sometime this summer. So, that could be June, July, August. It could even be early September.
Yep.
So, it goes on to say, so how does this new update from Santa Monica Studio tie in with the release of God of War Ragnarok? Well, in short, for the developer to already be revealing these accessibility qualities of Ragnarok indicates that development is surely in its final stages. Oftentimes, accessibility features are revealed much closer to a game's launch rather than being shown off far ahead of time. While God of War Ragnarok still might be months away from arriving, the fact that Santa Monica Studio felt comfortable enough to highlight these qualities of the game whatsoever tells us that the project should surely be arriving within its planned release window. Hopefully, it won't be too much longer before we hear more about Ragnarok in an official capacity from PlayStation. All right, so it's asking, when do you think that God of War Ragnarok will actually be releasing in 2022? I'm going to say December. It's going to be a Christmas time release.
They usually try to get it before Christmas, right? So I'd say November.
yeah, probably November. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know if it's going to push more people to buy a PS5. I don't know if PS5s are actually going to be more available than. But from what I've seen so far of Sony, I'm not interested in even getting a PS5 until they actually start wowing me. I was kind of excited about a new Gran Turismo, but that has an always online connection, which none of the games ever had before, and that was annoying. So, but this game might, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
As someone who would prefer to play some games solo, just because I like doing it that way, I don't like the idea of game companies making it where you have to be on the internet the entire time in order for the game to work, even if you're just playing a solo mission.
Well, it's just certain games don't need to have an always online connection. I always argue this because I go, it's Godfall had an always online connection. There's some of these games, even Call of Duty is now having always online connection. It's just ridiculous. These things, Diablo is having one too. I mean, it didn't work out for 3, but let's try it again with Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's so silly.
It is. It's very silly. I mean, even when the PS3 came out, and the only way you could get an update was by having an online connection or purchasing a new game that had the update included in it.
No.
Okay, so the next article I'm going to is related to Top Gun Maverick, and I can't speak for you guys, but I am actually looking forward to Top Gun Maverick.
Only one this year so far.
Yeah, what has this now been? This is the sequel, so it's been what 13 years, 10 years, something like. No, it's been.
It's been longer than that.
What am I talking about? I'm thinking of Avatar 2. Yeah. It's been way longer than that. The first one came out in the 80s, so
yeah. Top Gun came out in 86.
You guys are on board with this. You guys feel that it's it's you guys feel like you want this, you're glad this is coming out, or you like feel like one Top Gun was enough?
No,
I don't.
You go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Anonymous. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel no. A sequel is fine. I mean, Top Gun was great. Obviously, one of the biggest blockbusters of the time.
True.
But it's been so long. It's not like they're trying to. There's not like 17 Mission Impossible movies, which they do good too. But
they're still feel the same as the show and whatever. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is with this is it's Tom Cruise. It's his movie, just like the Mission Impossible stuff. He's doing this, and he doesn't want it to get screwed up. So you can have some faith that it's going to be done right. And it's been such a long time since the first one.
Yeah.
You get to see what has progressed over the time versus just shameless money making movie bullcrap.
Yeah.
So it's going to be handled well, I believe that. So
okay,
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I don't know. The first Top Gun was fine. When I had first heard about this, and my brother felt the same way, it's just, I don't know if I care about it. But if people are excited about it, or they really wanted this, well, good. I'm happy for them.
I wouldn't say I really wanted it, but it actually does sound like it might be worth seeing.
Yeah.
It's like Bones saying here, I hate when they wait too long to make a sequel. Yeah. Wednesday's Pop Talk, I was saying, if they really wanted to make a sequel, they should have made it maybe 3 years after the first one.
Well, they were probably looking at it as a one and done movie, which
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I tend to respect that, actually. I mean, they're making a sequel 36 years later, but it's so far removed from the first one that it's going to seem fresh. It's going to be it's going to be a new movie. It's not. I mean, we're not going to have fatigue from the the stuff that came before it. I don't know. I look at it that way, and the fact that it's going to be done with care makes it all the better.
Yeah. Well, I hope it all works out for you guys.
And it's not a reboot either. So.
No, it's not a reboot.
Well, I'm definitely going to give a reaction to it, and I'll post it here on the channel. But when I think about the first Top Gun, well, my parents were watching that in the theater. I was watching this.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly?
Yeah.
I watched it all, man. I watched it all.
Yep. I was watching actually G.I. Joe the other day.
Oh yeah. The original G.I. Joe.
It's still so good. Yes.
It's still an awesome show. I don't care what anyone else says.
It still holds up. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah.
Bone also says, I forget the actress's name from the first movie, but she is looking very rough these days.
Kelly McGillis.
Yeah, Kelly McGillis.
McGillis.
Yeah. McGillis, right.
Gee, she let herself go.
It happens sometimes.
Also, I don't know how many of you guys have ever watched Adam the Woo.
Never heard of it.
No.
But he goes around and he films, movie locations. He does theme park vlogs. Well, yesterday he posted a new video, and he was in Oceanside, and he was at the Top Gun house. Well, they've restored that house, and they've made it into a coffee shop / donut shop. So it's called the Top Gun house.
Bone has a good point. Well, in this one, as far as I know, you got Goose's son.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this article from Action News says Top Gun Maverick review: Tom Cruise delivers the first must-see theatrical experience you've been waiting for. Goes on to say we were at the world premiere for Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick at CinemaCon last month, and with the embargo now up, we're finally allowed to share our thoughts on the blockbuster action sequel. And the article goes on to say the following: it's been 36 years since the world saw Pete Maverick Mitchell, Tom Cruise, fly off into the sunset, and while for the longest time Cruise seemed content leaving the most iconic role on his illustrious resume in the rearview mirror, fate had something else in mind for the King of the Skies. And thankfully, it was well worth the wait. And it says this review may contain spoilers, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to find. Oh, let's just go to the end and see what they say. Is it worth seeing? Find out. All right, so at the end here, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's going to see it, myself included. At the end here, it says Top Gun Maverick is the must-see cinematic experience of the year, packed with jaw-dropping aerial sequences, thrilling edge-of-your-seat moments, genuine heart, epic romance, and one of the absolute best performances of Tom Cruise's legendary career. This is the theatrical experience you've been waiting for. Don't miss it on the biggest screen imaginable this Memorial Day. Well, I'm not just going to go based on someone's review.
it's well, somebody called this in one of their reviews in the ad I saw earlier the greatest movie of all time or something. What?
Well,
That makes me worry.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Is it Hollywood chill media saying that, or was like
I don't know. It's like it's like when people say this is the new Star Wars, and you're just like, oh, not this again.
No, I'm just they have some terrible takes, and it's just they're like butt kissing just to hey, look at me, Hollywood, I want to be Access Media too, or I already am Access Media, and so yeah, you got to take whatever they say with a grain of salt.
You have to, especially nowadays.
Yeah, especially when they say it's the next Star Wars.
What?
When Matt and I did our we did a morning show back in January. That was supposed to be our most anticipated movies of the year, and all of my movies got pushed back to 2023. So I had to make a second list on the fly, live on the show.
Yeah.
And all of those got pushed back into 2023, except for Top Gun Maverick. That's kind of like my last man standing as far as anticipated movies. Personally, I'm really looking forward to it. I've been hearing some good things, and one of the things I'm hearing is that it is a real throwback to kind of 80s action cinema. And hey, we need more of that as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking forward to this. I think it could be really good. I mean, obviously, I'll reserve judgment, but, I want to see it. I'm there.
Yeah, I hope it guys bring you a lot of joy. I really do.
Well, Cass, you and I have even talked about how they need to go back to the 80s formula of making movies.
They
Because
need to
movies
do a
back
lot
then
of
were
things,
fun.
man. It's just fun movies. We could use some more happy movies in general, like especially since COVID. It would be nice to see. And other people have mentioned this. It's like Hollywood, they're on this track, especially now. It's like all doom and gloom. Like their certain utopia is just like everything is terrible. It's a lot of these shows are just
nihilist.
like like a lot of these shows lately, if they're on HBO or this and that, they're just dark and gloomy. The acting can be really good, but it's just dark and gloomy all usually.
There's no hope.
There's literally no hope. And it would be nice to see some happy movies again.
I would die for that. I mean, I bowed out of nihilism back in like the third or fourth season of Walking Dead. I just could not take it anymore. I walked away from that just feeling all gross and down and stuff like that. I can't watch this. And then everything that comes out after that, I can't stand. I didn't watch Game of Thrones for the same reason. It was just everybody killing each other, conspiring and stabbing each other in the back. And it just, that kind of stuff, it wears on you. It tears you down. I needed hope. I needed something that, made me feel good. And, I didn't get a lot of it. I mean, yeah, the Marvel movies were a big pick me up, I guess, because that's what they focused on in the first three phases.
Yep, they did.
So,
yep, they did. It's just, yeah.
I loved every minute of it, even the bad ones. Now I'll go back and watch the bad ones.
Like with the Disney Plus shows, I feel, well, I mean, if my friend is gonna try an episode, he's like, I'm gonna try an episode, see how it goes. And I said to him, well, if you're gonna try an episode of She-Hulk, I guess I'll try one as well, but I'm not expecting much. He's not either, but he's like, if it's garbage, at least we said we watched an episode of it. I said, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you ought to watch it together. That way you can suffer together.
That's right. If it's really that horrible, which I don't know. I can't say. That trailer did not give me hope for She-Hulk. But
Oh God,
see
no.
what happens.
I'm telling you, watch it together. That way even the bad is going to be good because you're going to have somebody who's like, oh God, I can't believe they did that. Or, oh, hey, they did that.
Yeah, if you can have somebody with you to make fun of it as it goes along, makes you just laugh at it. I mean, you'll have a good time just laughing at the crap.
We certainly laughed at Home Alone Hawkeye episode 1. So yeah.
See, there you go.
Well, I already said to Paul I'll watch Obi-Wan Kenobi with him.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
And, I'm not going to go into it with a negative attitude. Now, I will be honest, I don't have high hopes, but I'm not going to go in going, oh gosh, I'm going to spend, 2 hours watching 2 episodes and it's going to be, complete another garbage. I don't know. I may watch those 2 episodes and go, this isn't bad.
Yeah. Right. Well, next week, 2 hours, so.
So, next article I have here lined up is from...
Oh, I was going to leave. I got to go cook dinner. Man, I'd love to, rail against this thing. But I do got to go. I got to go cook dinner. My wife's going to kill me if I wait too long.
Okay.
All right, Anonymous. Thank you for coming on, brother. Really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, guys. Yeah, good talking to y'all, and keep up the good work, guys.
You as well.
We'll see you later.
Talk to you later, man.
Right. So, this article from Bounty in the Comics was posted on the 20th. It's by Spencer Bacall, and it says Halo co-creator confused by many of the choices made in Paramount Plus live-action adaptation. Not the Halo I made. It goes on to say, adding his voice to the company of fans who have similarly found themselves bewildered by the questionable at best direction of Paramount Plus live-action Halo series. Franchise co-creator and Master Chief designer Marcus Letho has revealed that he has been left confused by many of the choices made by the live-action adaptation of his original work. It goes on to say, Letho, who served as Bungie's creative art director beginning with Halo Combat Evolved, for which he conceived Master Chief's iconic design, before later directing the studio's final game in the series, Halo Reach first touched upon his thoughts on the series on May 14th. So go ahead and post the article in the chat for anyone who wants to follow along.
Mm-hmm.
Article continues to say, asked by a fan for his feelings about Master Chief finishing definitely not the fight in the Halo TV series, referring to the now infamous sex scene presented in the show's 8th episode. Letho revealed that he was still getting through the series, but noted that he had lots of mixed emotions and opinions. And let's see. Twitter user Smoke said, "Hey man, as the father of the Chief and a gaming icon, how do you feel about Master Chief finishing definitely not the fight in the Halo TV series?" And then this is his tweet right here in response. Goes on to say, 2 days later, after being tagged in a Twitter conversation between two users over the series quality, one pleased that the series was reaching a new audience to the brand, even if it's not the Halo we knew. The other finding takes the brand and strays it away from the heart of the series game. Letho would opine, yeah, I'm not sure where the inspiration for the show comes from now, not the Halo I made. Those are the tweets there. It goes on to say, for clarity, I never said I didn't like it. He would add in a follow up tweet, it's just so different than the Halo I helped make. I like it. It's a different universe. As others joined the conversation and shared their opinions on the series production, Letho would offer a small bit of praise to the show, echoing the sentiments of other users, asserting, I actually like some of the battle scenes. Cool action, some great VFX, he said, of what may be the series' only positive point. In particular, the plasma hit effects in episode 1 are spot on. As his tweets began to circulate across social media, it was soon noticed by fellow Twitter user Mexican Sombro, who retweeted Letho and observed, damn, when one of the original creators behind Halo hates the TV show adaptation, it's time to cancel it. And then, of course, there was a response saying, I didn't say I hate the show, responded Letho. Some parts are interesting, just confused by many of the choices that were made, which feel pretty far outside the core fiction I helped create. As of this writing, Letho has not offered any further thoughts on Paramount Plus widely panned Endeavor. However, given this that his above comments were made the day before the May 18th premiere of Halo's first season finale, one can only imagine how he may feel about the episode's bait and switch twist. So, what do you guys think? Have any of you watched Halo? I know I haven't, so I really have no horse in this race.
I watched an episode with Crit, and in that episode, he takes off his helmet. Yes, this show is not canon. Yes, there can be some cool action sequences in this, but going forward, I've only watched one episode. I haven't really pushed Crit to watch another episode. He's watched a lot more of Halo than I have, Pacific. The Master Cheeks does happen. The Spartans, for some reason, do get naked. I don't know why. I know this is not canon, but it's so weird. But I've only watched one episode of this. And in that episode, Master Chief had to take off his helmet. They couldn't just, even though this is not canon, they could have just had him not show the face and then have the helmet go off. We never see his face, but
And welcome to the panel, Common Sense America, also known as the Smoking Patriot.
What's
Good afternoon,
happening,
sir.
brother?
Not much.
Hey,
How y'all
man,
doing?
What's up, dude?
How's your week
Not
been?
much. Work. That's pretty much it.
I know.
So, oh God, Halo.
I just, like I said, it's one episode. It's not canon. Is it? Should it be a better show than? I mean, I only watch one episode, so I don't know. It's just, but once again, it's not canon to the games. But does that make it right? I don't know. I think still there's a lot of weird decisions in this show that just go. I don't know. I know this isn't canon, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't still be a quality Halo show. And I guess they're doing. There was something with Cortana they did. I was reading, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah, from what, because Lethal Lightning, part of the Geeks and Gamers crew, he's him and one other group, Big Mike. They've been doing episodic.
Oh, they've
reviews.
been watching it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they've actually been watching it and doing reviews because they're like, we're going to torture ourselves, but you guys, so that way you guys don't have to watch it, kind of thing. Kind of like what I did with the first 3 seasons of Discovery. And Cortana is implanted into his brain. Like, yeah. So everything. So instead of it being like a chip that's in his helmet that allows her to see everything he sees and do, she's actually in his brain.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's.
I feel also if you didn't play the Halo games and you just went in cold turkey, then you might enjoy this more. I don't know. People, I don't think a lot of people like this Halo show, but maybe there is a number of people. I don't know what the ratings have been. I've only watched one episode, so with Crit.
Well, speaking as someone who hasn't played the games and went into the show virtually blind, I did see the first episode. I didn't care for it. Yeah. I thought it was mostly just generic, feelings in hallways. He's conflicted. He meets the kid. He meets the girl who's going to teach him how to be human again, and sees the key to everything, and lead him to the magical bullshit device by the end of it, and it took me out of it.
I didn't care for it, and it's just he left his helmet off so many times, and it was closer to the end of that episode, and it's like, yeah, it's not canon, but
he does more than just take his helmet off.
Oh, I know, Master Cheeks. Yeah. I heard, and so do the other Spartans too.
Yep,
even the
Master Chief ones. Getting it on. Yeah,
I don't know. The thing is, in the first episode, I did see some actual good action, but it's not. I would rather them continue on. I mean, if I was working on something like this, I would have just continued on with that movie. Did you guys ever watch that movie with the cadets? That was
Forward Unto Dawn.
Yes.
That is a true Halo movie.
Yes, it can be brutal. There's the friendship aspect. You feel bad for these cadets. Yeah, it's a good one. Yep.
Well, that's someone who I had on the panel on Wednesday's show, Pops, who has reviewed this show with Loki's Mornings of Mischief, and he was telling me things about this series that make me glad I'm not watching it.
I mean, you could give it a chance. The thing is, one person will say, oh, I hate this, whatever, but then you watch it, you may not obviously feel the same, Pacific, but I don't know if you want to know obviously more about it as well, you can ask Crit. I think Crit's watched a lot of Halo, at least his first season, whatever. What is it, 8 episodes or something? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9, something like that. Yeah, it's. Here's my thing. Forward Unto Dawn showed so much of Master Chief. It showed him as a leader. It showed him as empathetic, not like crying, but like when one of the cadets is hurt, she's like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I need you to go do this." It shows him in his total badassery. It shows every aspect of Chief that we get in the games, but in a live action role, and it was done beautifully. I mean, I love how Jeremy Geeks and Gamers puts it. Chief with very few words, just with head movements and his actions, portrays emotion, like how Dredd did in the 2012 Dredd with Carl Urban. He never takes his helmet off,
Nope.
doesn't say a lot, but still conveys emotion through just a few words and his actions.
Yep.
I mean, Chief. Now, the thing is, Chief's mystery. We don't know what his face looks like.
Exactly.
That is part of why Chief is so lovable, because every time you think you're going to see his face, you don't. And some people are like, I want to see his face. Some people are like, nope, I don't want to kill the mystery. I don't want to kill the mystery.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I like the mystery. I think even though the show isn't canon, I would still keep the mystery of Chief, but that's just me. Even if the show's not canon, I just would still keep the mystery. I like it a lot.
Honestly, I would be totally fine if like they did something kind of like how they did in like the Power Rangers TV shows. There's two different times where you see like a ranger, he gets badly injured, and then all you see is that the visor where his eyes are is cracked, so all you see is the eyes. I would be totally fine if they even did that in the show, where Chief gets hit really hard by a blast or something happens, and all you just see are his eyes. You don't see any other facial features except his eyes, like those battle-worn eyes. Like, I would be even fine with that.
I like that too.
Yeah, because that would convey more than seeing his actual face.
Yeah, that's why it was so cool. Like, we can go back to something, and I've talked about this before. The whole villain not being shown Inspector Gadget, the mystery. You know, and then they're like, oh, well, in the movie, we're going to no, stop it. You've ruined it. Like, less is more, right? So I like that. I still enjoy that. I like the mystery. The mystery can be very great. So.
Yeah, my best friend and I were talking about it because he watched it because he wanted to see, you know, oh, it's a Halo series, and him and I, we did a bender when Halo 4 came out. We did a 3-day weekend bender. We co-opted on hard Halo 1, 2, and 3. We drank so much Mountain Dew, ate so much pizza, got very little sleep. We binged Halo 1, 2, and 3, and then the moment 4 came out, because I already bought it, it was with that first weekend. We played Halo 4. We co-opted it together. I mean, so him and I have loved Halo, and he was telling me about it. He's like, there's very little action. All they do is they keep expanding upon the emotional side of Chief and trying to show him more human. And I just flat out told him, I said, first of all, Chief does enough of that in the games. You don't need to take off the helmet or have him banging a chick to do that.
No.
Number two, this is Paramount Plus. It's pretty evident with all the Star Trek shows they've come out with that they don't care about good action or action in general.
Well, there is some good there is some good action in the first episode that I remember in the village area in the fortress.
Right, but that's the first episode. Yeah. That's meant to pull you in. It's after that it matters. So,
Paramount seems pretty good at first episodes. Just they don't keep it up.
Yep. Well, it's like how they did it in Picard. Oh, they tease in Picard. Oh, they show Data. They show, you get that brief glimpse of the Galaxy class. It feels kind of like a Star Trek. It feels like Star Trek. And then by like episode 2 or 3, they just divert from the path on purpose. And you're like, the hell am I watching now? They know what they're doing. They're not idiots.
Well, the thing is, I saw Sonic 2 finally, and I was like, dang, they used so much source material in this. It just impressed me. I was like, wow. Like, can we get more stuff like this? It's so good, man. So good.
I still got to see it. Top Gun is the next movie I'm watching, though. I'm seeing that opening weekend.
And speaking of Top Gun, are you still open to joining me for a review of it?
When would you be doing that review?
As soon as I'm able to see it.
Because I won't be seeing it until Saturday night. That'll be the first opportunity I get. Maybe Friday night I can see it. Either Friday, it's gonna be Friday night or Saturday. I got to see what the show times are in my area.
Yeah, because I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to see it, this weekend anyway. So let you know when I'm going to see it. And if you've already seen it, well, just have your notes ready.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Oh, I'm seeing it twice that weekend. Once with my parents, and then once by myself. So I'm gonna be seeing it twice that weekend.
And if anyone else wants to join us, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, it's that's the only movie this year I've been actually excited for. And even my mom, who's not much into those kind of movies, she's like, I want to see this. That just tells you how well they did those trailers and but they never gave away the story.
Top Gun has a certain appeal.
It does.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next story. I'm sorry, guys.
Is this the last story?
No. There's three.
I'm just joking, man.
I don't want to end it. I don't want to end it on this note.
If we ever finish your list, I would die of shock. I think.
It's Frost. All you gotta do is watch Chrissy Mayer's version of her on Friday Night Lights. That's pretty much all you've seen.
So funny.
All right, so G4 TV host Frost blames meme propaganda for Buffalo mass shooting.
Oh, of course.
They're jokes, bro, until hatred becomes normalized. And this article is by Spencer McCauley, and it was written on May 18th. And it says, following the claim by the accused perpetrator of the recent mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, that he was radicalized into his actions by internet content, G4 TV host Indiana Frost Black has taken to claiming that seemingly all online groups have been wholesale infiltrated, manipulated, and hijacked by nefarious groups via meme propaganda. In a personal manifesto shared to the internet shortly before the shooting, the suspect reported that he was radicalized into committing his horrific racism-fueled actions after he started browsing 4chan in May 2020. I eventually wound up on the site's politics message board. He wrote, as per personal review of the document by this article's author. There I learned through infographics, and then crap post memes that the white race is dying out. Okay, yeah, that's why you don't go to certain sites and believe all their crap. Just my opinion.
4chan, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a site to go to, or not.
That's a site you skip at all costs.
I mean, I'm sure you can find some funny stuff in there, but it's like, ugh.
Maybe back in its origin days, like the early days of 4chan, you could probably find good stuff, but it's
right.
Those days have long passed.
Article continues by saying, however, though the suspect claims that said content was his metaphorical gateway into racist ideologies, he soon after asserts that he was specifically inspired into committing the attack by Christchurch mosque mass shooter Brenton Tarrant. So, just by that, and this is just my opinion, it sounds like he wanted to be a copycat.
There are those out there.
They all are. They all are. I've heard psychologists all say that because the media puts so much highlight on it, whether the shooter is injured, killed, or just taken into custody with no injury, other people who are lonely, who have mental issues, psychologists, I've heard this for like at least a decade, they've all said that inspires people because they know the media is going to jump on it and be like a dog on a bone with it. They said if the media didn't cover it at all, or just only gave very specific things and that's it, and didn't blast it all over the airwaves for weeks on end, and politicians didn't talk about it for weeks on end, you wouldn't have this many copycats like you do nowadays.
Oh, the media adds a lot of fuel to the fire, so which is
Oh, absolutely.
unfortunate. It's really ridiculous. A lot of the mainstream media does, and they pick and choose which ones they consider violence and this and that. If it's a certain race and they're killing a certain other race, just leave it at that. The media goes, "Oh yeah, let's do it." Yeah, it's really awful. Yet things
They
going
are
on in
honest
Chicago,
dogs.
we don't really. A lot of the mainstream media doesn't care about the shootings going on in Chicago, but whatever. Pick and choose,
Well, unfortunately, it's not going to change because that's how they get their viewers.
Unfortunately, yes.
Wish I could say the same for, Paramount Plus and Disney Plus and Netflix, but hey, that's just me.
And the article goes on to say, I found the 17-minute live stream of him attacking the Anono Mosque. He elaborates, I eventually found his manifesto, large parts of which he would go on to copy for his own writing. And I read it and I found that I mostly agree with him. Finally, I thought to myself, perhaps there is a chance we can combat this. See, that's the other fortunate side of things with things like this. There are people who will worship the previous person who did this, like they're a god, or they're the holiest of thou person. When those kinds of people don't need to be worshipped.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, no person needs to be worshipped. That's just nobody's perfect.
Oh, we all have flaws.
You can look at something that's really a good aspect. That's not one of them. About somebody and aspire to be like that, but not nobody deserves to be worshipped. But these people are have hero worship for some of the most disgusting things.
We're not, and there's early signs of these people, and there was early signs of this shooting, and of this. It's so frustrating that we keep having these happen, and then what happens is, I don't want to go too deep into this, but it's everything else's fault. I remember when there was the Columbine shooting. It was, what were those kids playing? They were playing Doom 2 at the time, so it had to be the video game's fault. It's like on and on. When are we going to actually start blaming the person who did it? And what were their parents thinking? And what was going on? And if there's early signs, why didn't people do more about it? It just keeps going in a circle. It's very frustrating and horrible, and it's just, yeah.
I mean, all these shooters, it's like that, though. Unfortunately, there's always early warning signs. Like the shooting in southern Florida that happened on Valentine's Day. What was it? Like 2017, I think, happened. And they had known about this kid for a long time. The sheriff's department, the school, the local police department. There was signs
they didn't do
many
anything
months
about
out.
it.
They didn't do anything because and again, this is not to get too deep, but there were like policies in place that they had set so that way his actions would go unpunished.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a lot of this stuff can be prevented.
It can.
A lot of this stuff, and that's the problem with the society is we glorify we glorify the wrong things. Like we glorify mass shooters, we glorify violent stuff, and it's like if you glorify this stuff and you start getting a lot of mass shootings, what else do you expect?
Yep, and people like Frost and other people in the media and a number of celebrities and stuff, they use this as some kind of advantage to it's really disgusting. I don't understand these people. They're looking for more attention. They try to use this as some political advantage, some gain of this, and toss other people under the bus, have nothing to do with this. And it's just ridiculous. So.
Yeah.
Well, this is
I
all
mean-
part of what I said earlier. These are people who believe in their own warped minds that they are revolutionaries, and they are
Right.
going to jump on to any particular uh, 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 issue, be it political or anything else. So to them, this is what outside of their bubble is like. They think that you can buy an AK-47 on a street corner.
Right. I know they do. It's crazy.
You know, And the thing is you have these celebrities who come out and say that they don't think that a homeowner should be allowed to carry a gun. What do you need a gun for? Meanwhile, go see my movie where I just shot 150 people.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in real life anti-gun, don't make a movie with a gun in it.
Right.
That's what I would say.
I
Those
agree.
armed guards you have, get rid of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then see what happens.
Yep.
And that was Steven's third rant of the show. Moving on.
No issues with that, brother. Everybody's free to say what's on their mind.
Well, this is also a chick who, let's also not forget, is famous. Nobody had heard of Frost until she went on this rant about misogyny and how she wasn't being glorified and wanting to be eye banged, I think is the term she used. Because I'm sorry, you had Olivia Munn and I forget the other chick's name.
Morgan
Webb.
Morgan Webb, that was it. Who, yes, they were amazing to look at physically, but they also had personality on the show. So yes, they could look hot while doing something, but they were also funny. They were entertaining as well. So it was kind of like the whole package deal. You want to attract nerds? You get a hot girl who's got a great personality on your show. It sells itself if you want to attract the nerd community, the nerd and the fandom community.
Yeah, and Frost never need to come out and say any of that. She could have come out and said, we're going to try to bring this back to the fun like it was before. Because Attack of the Show and X-Play, they were actually fun shows. And there was actually some good information on there. And Attack of the Show had the best E3 coverage of any network ever. They just made sure to explore so much. And that was awesome. Even better than when Spike had it. It was really good.
Oh yeah, I remember when they had it was Olivia Munn and I can't remember the other guy. It wasn't Chris Gore. It was another guy. He had like blonde, kind of spiky hair.
Yeah,
and they were
Kevin something, right? Kevin.
I want to say it was Kevin something. And they were at E3, and every time they were there for like, it was like a 6-hour like thing they were doing, and every hour. Olivia Munn was in a different outfit, and she was in like Laura Croft in one. She was in, I think, a Sailor Moon for one. She was in like a different outfit for every hour of
She was in a Princess Leia slave outfit.
Yep. I mean, so I'm just like, you're at a gaming thing, and you're doing all the anime and the nerdum stuff. It's like, yeah. Now, I'm not saying Frost had to do that, but all she had to do was not go on a rant. But what else would you expect? Look at Star Wars, look at Star Trek, look at Doctor Who. They, instead of being about the fans, it's all about the agenda. What is the agenda we're trying to push?
It's become a lot about that. Yeah, it's really true. It's really too bad. At some point, I think it's going to change. I just don't know when.
If I ever step foot on one of those stages, I'm going to need that Spaceballs clip played on repeat, like for 10 hours. Because that's what it's going to feel like. Just look around and I'm going to be thinking, surrounded by assholes.
Right. Absolutely. It's so funny. Yeah.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo! I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. You have the ring. And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it.
Funny thing is,
Still one of the funniest movies ever.
my cousin and I, when he and I would watch that, we would joke around where we'd be battling with lightsabers, and I'd be like, "I see you have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine." And we were kids; we didn't understand the reference until we were in high school. So we kept saying that during lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
But anyways, it looks like Frost, has her own recommendations as far as what should be done. But honestly, what can be done? Just serious question: what can be done that everybody would go, yeah, that really needs to be done?
Well, we have to pay more attention to mental health. I mean, they're working on it, but they need to do a better job. And when there's early signs, there needs to be, maybe they can try to save these people from doing these horrible things. I don't know how, especially when they become adults. But everybody wants to play sides, and they're not looking at the facts. It's the same with a trial with a certain kid who, protected himself. I'm not gonna mention it. I don't know if YouTube would like it. So
but, yeah.
It's just such a mess all the time, and so people don't wait for the facts, and they just want to bring out the torches and the pitchforks, and we're gonna burn these people at the stake or whatever. In their mind, it's really just ridiculous. It's a lot of ignorance, is what it is, and we let these people out to dry, and then some of these people get very violent and. It's very tragic, but it's like they know about this stuff at least a year ago, or some person in Congress knew about this or whatever, and they just let these people linger, and then bad things happen, and it's just stupid.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that some people just look at it and go, "It's just a phase, so grow out of it."
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, I got into a debate with somebody about this, and it was much more of a political nature, which I'm not going to go into that debate. But the top three things that I guess you call them my arguing points were, and this is actually in addition to what Cash said, is A, let the facts come out first. Don't jump on pro-gun, anti-gun, pro-this, anti-this, whatever side. Okay, let the facts come out first. Give it about a week. Let the facts come out, because usually within 48 hours there's already a ton of facts, but give it about 5 to 7 days. Let the facts come out, then you can have an opinion. 2, stop turning these people into martyrs or giving them all this news coverage, because other people are going to see that who have similar ideas. 3, politicians need to shut the hell up, because politicians will take a side. Like I said, with the first point, they will jump on whatever bandwagon. Politicians just need to shut up. So those 3 things, I think, would do a huge amount of good in helping these things be a lot less, because facts are the key for this stuff to stop happening. Yep. If people know the facts, you can start identifying key things earlier, but people don't want to because of we're so polarized, because nobody cares to have actual debates. I mean, Pacific and I, we've had debates before. Have we agreed 100%? No,
we haven't.
Chaos and I have had them. Nerdpoil and I have had them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always agree,
mm-hmm.
but they're amicable. They are good debates. We walk away, no hard feelings, and we end up being all the wiser because we let facts come out and we had open minds. That's not taught anymore. That's not taught in this country anymore.
Nope.
Discourse isn't taught.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I was on a stream one time where I disagreed with everyone, that was on the panel about that particular subject that time, and it was like a knockdown, drag out. We started a big argument kind of thing. It's just, I disagreed. They piled on a little bit, but it was all in jest. And then, right after that stream was over was, hey man, we're live streaming tomorrow. Are you in? Yeah. You know what? We disagreed, but it wasn't the end of the world. You know, we disagreed on that one subject. We moved on from immediately, and you know, we you know, and we went on from there. And you're right. It's not taught. I don't know what the hell they're teaching anybody in schools anymore, except maybe to let me put it this way, except maybe to play dress up. But I, I really worry for future generations. What are they being taught? What are we teaching them? It for the first time in my life, I am afraid for younger generations.
Could you imagine going back 30 years and telling your teacher or professor at the time, in 30 years, this is what they're going to be teaching kids in school? Can you imagine the look on their face?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny
Because
too when. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was going to say because and when I don't want to go off on too much of a thing here, but I had liberal teachers who made no bones about the fact that they were liberals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and on occasion they would interject those politics into certain lessons.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew, but you learned enough that you could separate that out. Um, this whole woke garbage is far more insidious. This isn't about conservative and liberal anymore. This is a cancer, and these are people who have the media in their pocket, and they have the politicians in their pocket. And it's a very scary time. And 30 years ago, if you had told me that the world would be the way it is today, no, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well, there's something very wrong when a lot of people can't speak their mind and can't have a good topic and talk about this and get fired and they have to stay quiet. It's very much of a problem. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's I watch a lot of LawTube, as it's put, Nick Rekieta and whatnot, and that group of lawyers, especially during this whole Johnny Depp thing. And Legal Mindset, he's an American.
That's a train wreck.
I've been watching as much of it as I possibly listening to the live court as much as I can. And Legal Mindset, who's in LawTube, born, raised in Miami area, went to, studied law in Florida at, I think, UF. But he lives in Korea now and everything because he likes to travel. And he said over in South Korea, all the woke stuff, there's a tiny bit of it because with certain little things, but he's like, it doesn't get the kind of foothold that you would expect because culturally over here, it's entirely different. The family structure, it's not about feminism empowerment. It's, no, I want my husband to go work hard and make a lot of money so I can get my nails done and drive the nice car. And I will love on my husband and make him food and do things to him and for him and everything. So it's like, it's he said it's crazy living in South Korea. And he said he's been to Japan and it's similar in Japan. He said Asia's just kind of like that, really, all of Asia. But he's like, the West, they have flipped the narrative on so many things on its head that in Korea, you just don't see. And he said it's the most insane thing ever because he's like, here, I feel like I understand people much better than I do back in my country of origin. Because here, the narrative isn't flipped on its head to the same level as it is in America or in Europe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, if somebody's actually married and the fact that people on Twitter, especially. Hopefully, something's going to happen with Elon Musk, and that'll start hopefully as some kind of chain reaction. But it's funny to me when people are like, "What? Your wife would make the husband a sandwich?" It's like, yeah, and if the husband is smart, he says thank you, and then at some other time, the husband makes the sandwich for the wife.
Yeah.
Like that's good, man. Like, yeah, say thank you, but that's something's wrong with that now. Like, oh, you just, it's such a mess. It's funny
Well,
too, but it's just,
yeah, it's cultural and it's the courts when it comes to the family side of stuff. Because even if it wasn't cultural, the courts F it up to the point where it affects culture so badly.
Yep.
And it's, honestly, I think that if we went to, I ain't saying I got any issue with women want to work, but I think if there was a much more mutual respect of the genders, women tried to understand men more and vice versa, and they try to be more caring and catering to each other, I think you'd see a lot less problems in the world, not just in America, but in the world. But because we flipped the narrative on its head, where women go on a Frost-like rant, where it's like, we just want to be entertained. We don't care how you entertain us. We just want to be entertained.
Seriously. Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. You don't have to be an Olivia Munn to be entertaining. You don't have to be a Jessica Alba to be entertaining. You can be a Frost, but have the personality to be entertaining. It's looks ain't everything.
No.
It's personality.
Personality is key.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. If they really wanted to bring G4 back, then they would have just done it. They would have learned a lot from what they did before and give people codes and bring X-Play. But even Adam Sessler, right? Yeah, Adam Sessler, he's just one of those. Yes. He's one of these white knight people now, which is really odd. It's funny how these people change. It really is. It just makes me laugh.
Was he the guy in that like little mashup video they did where he's got like the long arm clap, looks like he's looks like the third one from Galaxy Quest, where he's just like, it's like, what are you doing, a gator or something?
Yeah. I was like, come on, man. And he goes after people, or he did on Twitter. He probably still does. It's just ridiculous. And then they also started doing, like, basically on G4, I remember reading some stuff about they were doing like sexual things, and they were showing women with less clothes on and stuff, and it's just the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah, they hired Amaranth.
Yeah, Amaranth.
Whatever her name is.
Amaranth. The chick who literally only does ASMR with a fake chest in a bikini. It's like that's who you're gonna have on G4, Amaranth. Like, unless you are in an Amaranth groupie, or unless you're in like Yellow Flash's chat, who of her in a mocking way, then you ain't heard of her. So, which is like 99.9% of the populace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who you're bringing on. I'm sorry, no. Bring on Katie Sackhoff.
That'd be amazing.
She's easy on the eyes, and she's done all. She did Riddick. She did Battlestar Galactica. I think she's done some other kind of like sci-fi-esque stuff as well.
Yeah, she was in The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she's Mandalorian.
She voiced Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars, and then she actually played her in live action.
Yep. So tell me, again, Katie Sackhoff, easy on the eyes, and I guarantee you she would be fun on G4. I think she'd let her nerdum fun side out on G4.
Oh yeah, she would.
But that requires having a brain, so
Brain? What's a brain? I do not know these things.
Twisted Metal, like Twisted Metal, like the game series.
Yes.
Oh boy, man. Really?
God.
Really?
I like Hayden. Thomas Hayden Church, though. He was really good in Sideways. If you guys have not seen Sideways, I highly recommend it.
I've never heard of Sideways.
Definitely check that out. Awesome. Sideways is really good. Underrated.
So this article by Geek Tyrant says Thomas Hayden Church joins Anthony Mackie in Peacock's Twisted Metal series. Excuse me. This article is by Joey Parr. It was posted 3 days ago. And it says Thomas Hayden Church, Sideways Spider-Man 3, has been cast in Peacock's upcoming Twisted Metal series, and he'll star alongside Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatrice. The series is based on the classic PlayStation franchise, and it's a high-octane action comedy based on an original take by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, Deadpool Zombieland. The series will center on a motormouth outsider, John Doe Mackie, who is offered a chance at a better life, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. With the help of a trigger-happy car thief, he'll face savage marauders driving vehicles of destruction and other dangers of the open road, including a deranged clown named who drives an all too familiar ice cream truck, whom fans of the game will know as Sweet Tooth. Church will play Agent Stone, a cold and unyielding post-apocalyptic highway patrolman who rules the roads with a silver tongue and a twisted iron fist, prosecuting even the smallest crimes with the harshest of judgments. Agent Stone will stop at nothing to bring law and order back to the divided states of America and will kill anyone in his path who defies his power. Church is going to be awesome in this role. Mackie portrays John Doe, a smartass motormouth milkman who talks as fast as he drives, facing savage vehicles of destruction as he delivers much needed supplies from one post-apocalyptic settlement to another. With no memory of his family or past, John's only goal is survival until he gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make his wish of finding community come true. Says Beatrice plays quite a ferocious, badass car thief who acts purely on instinct. You couldn't stop her any more than a manhole could stop a volcano. Coming from a community that oppressed her into silence, Quiet's wish is to find her place in this dark, chaotic world, but when she becomes clouded by her need for revenge, Quiet forms an unlikely antagonistic bond with John Doe. Cobra Kai writer Michael Jonathan Smith is developing the series, and it will be fun to start seeing how the show comes together. I'm especially looking forward to seeing what it will look like visually. I'm loving this cast, though. And that's from the author. And the source was Deadline.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right.
And I want the vehicles to kind of look like they came out of the movie Death Race. Like that kind of style where it's like a bunch of welded on metal and guns, and they have this kind of like Mad Max-esque kind of feel. Like that's what I want to see in Twisted Metal. Like something out of Death Race. And Anthony Mackie, that's an interesting choice for that series.
No.
Interesting choice.
It is, but I think it'll work.
I think it would work too, provided that because again, there's so much about the series we don't know. Even reading that, there's so much that's unknown. You know what? I'm gonna watch it. My gut says be cautious, but I'm gonna watch it come hell or high water.
Well, if there's
and
anything
I will do reviews.
If there's anything that Cobra Kai has gotten right, it's the fact that it's respected the lore and respected the characters. If they're going to have writers from that show carry over to this property and they do the same thing, yeah, it could work.
It could work, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do have kind of a blank, an unwritten book, really, because Twisted Metal, there's no story in Twisted Metal. It's literally just You get in a car and you drive on an open map, blowing up other cars. Like that's all it is. So
yeah, you're trying to win the race, I think, if I remember.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so you really do have an open book, and certainly a post-apocalyptic wasteland is probably one of the best scenarios to do Twisted Metal, kind of like a Mad Max kind of scenario in a little bit. So you gotta expand on the world, though. You can't just have this narrow-minded view where it's just these two people and that's it. You got to kind of say, how did you get into this post-apocalyptic wasteland? Like, give a little backstory. I think
build story for other drivers. You could even have a whole thing where it's like the guy goes off on his family. He needs money. He gets into this race. I mean, we've seen stuff like that to some extent, but then we learn about more drivers, and then people are trying to screw each other over. I don't know. It could be like stuff could be pretty cool.
Yeah. You know what? I'll watch it.
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, I'll give it a chance and watch it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll watch it with you, Mike.
All right. And I do want to say hello to Resolute Germ. How are you doing? Oops. Clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, he's right.
It's been so long since I played those games. So.
Yeah, but they're fun games. So
yes, they were.
All right. So the next thing I want to show you guys is, well, anybody here watch Quantum Leap back in the day?
A little bit. I never.
Oh yeah.
Well, flash forward to 2022, and this is your new Quantum Leap cast.
Oh no,
Mike, I'm gonna get going.
All right, brother.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. The Lightning are having their playoff game, so this is a big game because if we miss one more,
okay,
so.
Man. Nice.
I understand.
So,
I got you, man.
All right. Thanks for having me on again, Mike, and it's good talking with everybody.
Real quick, brother.
Yep.
Wednesday, I'm having a special edition of Pop Talk celebrating the 45th anniversary of the original Star Wars. It starts at 7, but you can come on whenever you're available.
Yeah, I get off at tentatively get off at 7, so I should at the latest be on by 8.
All right.
So, but I'll be there.
All right, brother.
Awesome. Thanks for the invite, bro.
You're welcome.
And
later,
y'all.
I'm going to go ahead and put Patriots link into that for anybody who wants to subscribe to the Smoking Patriot. He has a lot of good content on his channel, and when he's able to get more content created, trust me, he'll have it up there.
Nice. Okay, so this already, I'm guessing, from the original series, which I've watched some of in the past, but I never really watched all of Quantum Leap. I probably should. But Ernie Hudson, that's an interesting choice. I know, I agree. Who's the Asian woman in the two?
I don't know. I don't know who these.
Oh, you don't know
three
that?
are.
Okay.
I don't know. The only person I even know is Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't know, and this is just my own opinion, folks. I don't think there needed to be a reboot of Quantum Leap. I think they needed to continue where the story left off, and let's see if Sam gets home. You know, Scott Bakula, he's still acting. He's still in pretty good shape from what I've seen.
Yeah, of course.
And greetings to you as well, Dick Marks. How are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, I just don't know if this is necessary. So they reboot this stuff. Sometimes Hawaii Five-0 did a really good job. That's one of the reboots I can honestly say was well done. You took the characters and then you had more of the backstory, which you did not see in the 20 seasons that the original went on. So they can get this stuff right, but I have probably, for the fans who love Quantum Leap, I have a bad feeling for them. I don't know why. But
And I like the original series with, Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. I thought it worked well.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I'll be honest, I loved it. I doubt I'm even going to try it. This new one.
So what's going to happen next if these shows are coming back? Does that mean we're going to bring back Buck Rogers? Actually, you know what? I better not say that. I might be giving somebody some idea.
Well, at one point, Universal was going to do another iteration of Battlestar Galactica. I don't know if that's going to be going anywhere or not.
I don't think they should. I think they should stop with what they did because they did a lot of good work. The reboot series was really good.
Yeah.
And Resolute Germ says Bakula was ready to go, but they didn't want him, probably because they knew how he would react to the script.
Yeah.
Heck, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see them do a continuation of Enterprise. Give us those other seasons that we never got.
Well, we got 4 seasons of Enterprise, and I don't remember how Enterprise ended. It's been so long, but we'll.
You just ignore these or the Voyages. It's just a holodeck simulation.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That is the all-time worst episode of that series.
It's been so long since I've watched that, but I remember enjoying Enterprise when I watched it, but it's been... Yeah. But I don't know, Quantum Leap came back. I mean, look, Magnum PI came back, and that didn't even get as many seasons as the original. I just thought that was a horrible idea. I remember that. I was like, no. The Equalizer has changed, too, and I know too much about the Equalizer.
Oh, the Equalizer. God, I couldn't even make it through the pilot. I was a big fan of the original Equalizer back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And, all right, now in the pilot, now in this new iteration, it's a daughter instead of a son. Okay, fine. Now, the daughter wants this dress that she sees in the window. Queen Latifah tells her, no, too expensive. You want to buy that? You go get a job and you go out and earn it. I go, okay, that's fine. Hey, I want to go to this party. Well, who's going to be there? Anybody I know? No, you don't know anybody there. Okay, I don't want you to go there because I don't know these kids and I want to check them out first before you go to this party. I go, okay, that's pretty good so far. So what does the daughter go and do? The daughter goes to the store, steals the dress, goes to the party that she's been told not to go to, does drugs at the party. The cops show up. She gets caught with drugs on her, plus she's now wearing a stolen dress. Naturally, she gets taken downtown. So Queen Latifah's got to go down there and bail her out. So she gets her out to the car and doesn't go, hey, I should have left you in jail for the night so you learn your lesson. She turns around and says, well, you know that the cops are going to do everything possible to put a black girl like you behind bars.
Oh, I know, dude. I've seen.
She's guilty.
It's
you know, she did everything that they said she did. Plus, she disobeyed you by doing all of the things you originally told her not to do in the first place. The second that scene happened, I changed the channel.
I can't blame you, man. I just can't blame you.
Yeah. That was rant number 4 for the stream. For those of you, you could almost make a drinking game out of me now.
It's like hearing our friend
drink. It's 2:00 in the afternoon, but take another drink by all means. No, okay. You were saying.
It's like hearing our friend Nerf Royal Lifeform talking about strange new worlds and hearing about this latest episode where there's no repercussions for our characters' actions. For disobedience and speaking out against the captain. It's like, what? Orders, rules, chain of command? That doesn't exist.
Oh, so standard Kurtzman Trek then. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. At least in Berman Trek, you still had a chain of command.
Yeah.
And I do want to say hello to Gangsta's Mafia and Cash. Are you? Hey, Cash, someone's using your name, dude.
Hey, GMC, what's up?
How you doing, GMC? How's the mob business going for you? I wish Patriot was still here. He does a better, better mafiosa impression than I do.
Wasn't bad, actually.
It's pretty
All
good.
inquiries made. This warrants now. Anyway, all right.
Keep going. Keep going. I don't mind people get silly on here. I've got silly on here before.
Hey, Luca Brazzi, I want you to go and go over to Paramount and speak to this Kurtzman fella. Yeah, I don't like what he's been doing with Star Trek. You tell him that you're not happy with the family, and I want you to go over there undercover. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just rambling now. Okay.
That's all right. I do it all the time. Ask Cash, ask Captain. They know. Yeah, that's right. All right, so moving on.
Go to the next article now.
That's right. We're going on to the next article. Capiche? So our next article comes to us from Bounty in the Comics, and it says, rumor, multiple Silent Hill games in development, including one that texts you, a Silent Hill 2 remake, and a Silent Hill stories. Great, that's all I need, is a game texting me while I sleep. Hey man, you awake? No, I'm trying to sleep. Why aren't you playing the game? Because I'm trying to sleep. Come on, play the game. No, I've got to get up early in the morning. Oh, come on. What's a few minutes? All right. So this article is by Ryan Pearson. It was posted on the 17th, and it says 3 new Silent Hill games are allegedly in development. A brand new title that can text you in real life, a remake of Silent Hill 2 by Bloober Team, and an episodic series dubbed Stories. Goes on to say leaker Aesthetic Gamer 1, who had previously leaked details about Resident Evil 8 and an alleged Resident Evil 4 remake, shared what appears to be promotional shots for the next Silent Hill game. Goes on to say Silent Hill leak. There's a lot I'm not sharing for now. This is from a relatively new source for me, but I have been given more than enough proof to believe them. I will also mention the names Anita and Maya, SMS messages, and this is not the only SH game in development. Okay. And let me go ahead and post the link to this article in the chat. And let me also read out what Resolute Germ is saying. I already get enough text from my girl when I'm sleeping. I don't need a game piling on. The images include a ruined room, possibly an apartment, filled with garbage, torn wallpaper, and broken windows. Another shows a corridor filled with post-it notes with abusive messages such as pervert and fat, either fat bitch or I'll leave it up to your imagination. scrawled on them with what seems to be a humanoid in a dress at the end of it with a dandelion esque head. We also see a woman whose face is peeling apart like the post it notes with more abusive and even bloody messages under the skin. One message reads, Minger slain in the UK, meaning ugly. It goes on to say the shot's a bit dated from 20, excuse me, 2020. So maybe this project looks a bit different now. Let's see. But when I'm choosing to share, I know many will doubt this, but I have a lot of private proof to show this is real. And as always, I continue to wait on Silent Hill game reveal. And it goes on saying, someone lending credence to the claim. It says aesthetic gamers once tweet later had images removed under Twitter's DMCA policy. The image has been removed in response to a report from a copyright holder. It says, Who Sins pointed out, wait, SMS messages? As in what Kojima's Silent Hills was supposed to have? Before citing the 2019 tweet from Santa Monica studio writer and YouTuber Alana Pierce. At the time, Pierce had stated, I heard that Silent Hills would require you to sign a waiver before playing because it would somehow interact with your real world self, like by sending you emails or text messages as characters from the game, even when you weren't actively playing. I could see a whole lot of problems with that. Posting on Reset Era, Aesthetic Gamer, also known as Dust Golem, answered one user's inquiry if Sony was involved. This one I'll answer, Sony's still involved. They also use Reset Era to confirm that they were briefly locked out of their Twitter account due to DMCA by Konami. Users on Our Silent Hill also uncovered alleged concept art by Mashiro Ito, monster designer and art director on several Silent Hill games, near identical to the post in No Corridor. Door can now be seen with graffiti identical to Banksy vs. Robo global warming piece. That in turn paraphrased Monty Python's Life of Brian with the line, He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty, along with Silent Hill's narrative usually involving the Order cult attempting to summon their god or bring about the end of the world. The quote would be somewhat appropriate, albeit the Order's god is female. While the Team Robo signature is kept, there is also a chance the Monty Python centric quote further suggests a UK based Silent Hill, despite the original Silent Hill's location. Nope. Location in the state of Maine. The Order has members who traveled outside the U.S. and characters from across the U.S. have been dragged into Silent Hill's world essentially via magic. Oh. And the article goes on to say it seems multiple Silent Hill games may be in the works. However, the claim comes from leaker Nate the Hate, who had previously claimed a new Fire Emblem game would be launched in 2022, though seemingly not Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Nate shared two claims: Blue Team working on Silent Hill 2 remake, reworked puzzles, new endings, timed PlayStation console exclusives, and multiple Silent Hill projects in development, including new mainline entry and side stories. Not confirmed, just sharing what I've heard, Nate emphasized. Video game journalist Jeff Grubb, or Groob, depending on how you want to say it, added to Nate's claims, this is the stuff I've heard, and it comes from multiple different sources. Sources primary, but everything is mostly lining up. To me, the biggest indicator is the stuff I've seen lines up with Konami doing a big reveal at E3 last year before it pulled out. However, Grub also denounced a 2021 report by Jamatsu claiming Konami were working on revivals of Castlevania, Metal Gear, and Silent Hill. Nate and Grubb's claims were also supported by VGC sources. Rumors of Silent Hill reboots and new titles have persisted ever since Hideo Kojima's Silent Hills was effectively canceled after his departure from Konami in 2015, though claims of a Silent Hill 2 remake are somewhat new. Athletic Gamer One had previously claimed in 2020 that Konami was reaching out to developers in 2018 in order to make two Silent Hill games. One a soft reboot, the other an episodic game skin to Until Dawn. BGC sources would later note that while Supermassive had been approached, the project would later become the episodic horror game series The Dark Pictures. Publisher Annapurna Interactive is, however, reportedly involved with the Stories project. And Rely on Horror also noted in 2020 that according to their sources, Ito would return to design the monsters along with director and writer Ichiro Toyama and composer Akira Yamamoto returning. While they worked on the soft reboot, Kojima's Silent Hills would allegedly continue without him utilizing VR. Regardless, Konami would go on to deny these rumors in 2020. In February 2021, however, Yamaka, sorry, my bad, stated in an interview with a YouTuber that his next project would be the one you're hoping to hear about. The video was titled "A New Silent Hill Game" and subsequently removed, though Konami denied having a part in its removal. Later that same month, and have to deal with the ad from found in the comics, so I'll read it afterwards. But anyways, you know what? I don't even have to read the rest of it. What are your guys' thoughts? Have you played the Silent Hill franchise, and do you want a remake? Do you want another game?
I've played some of the Silent Hill games. I played 1 and 2. I don't know. It depends how it turns out.
I don't know if we even need one, especially if Hideo Kojima isn't going to be involved. He's
right.
He's the brainchild
right
of that series, just like he's the brainchild of the Metal Gear Solid series.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If Konami's not involved, which I guess they're not, this is another studio. If they follow I don't know if this is necessary. We'll see how it turns out, I guess.
And Captain Fandom, do you have any thoughts or deleted scene?
Well, I certainly don't need a game texting me. Getting no text during the day, but I'm sure we all do. Well, as far as Silent Hill games are concerned, I don't really know where they've gone with the game since the first one, so I can't really judge that. If the original creator is not involved with this, am I understanding that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay.
No.
Well, that always gives me pause when. I mean, that in and of itself doesn't mean anything, but yeah, that would be a red flag for me personally. Captain?
Well, I was just thinking about the security issues, because there's going to be a lot of X number numbers have been stolen from the database, and all of a sudden, boom, you got people got your number out there, and there's too. No, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you would install an app or something, and then I guess that thing would text you. I don't know. Where are you? Where are you today?
There's an app, that's one thing, but if
Yeah.
it actually has your phone number or something,
Get on the game. Where are you, you little whatever? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm at
It's like
work right
yelling at
now.
you.
Leave me alone.
It's like Zod from Man of Steel 2. Where are you? It's like screaming at you every 5 minutes.
Oh gosh, could you imagine trying to explain it to a coworker? I played this new game and it keeps texting me.
It just keeps yelling at me. And so, where are you? It's like always in caps too. Yeah. You got to be playing the game. There's somebody hunting you right now. It's like, I'm not in the game. I don't care. Get in there. Yeah,
Yeah, I see who's hunting me. It's a customer. They want to know a price.
That's right. Oh man.
And Resolute Germ says, I think that texting would be against the don't call laws most states have. Yeah, I would think so. And DJ Running G says, at Dick Marks, just working a mostly quiet day during Pop Talk. All right, so our final story for this Sunday is Chainsaw Man editor reveals a major update for Part 2. I have not seen Chainsaw Man. I have not read the manga, but I know there are anime fans who have, and I always try to have at least one anime story for each Pop Talk. Except for this Wednesday's, of course, which will be focused on Star Wars, unless I can find an article related to another batch of Star Wars visions. That'll be the only exception. So it says Chainsaw Man is one of those series fans never saw coming, but are entirely thankful it found them. Creator Tatsuki Fujimoto, and I'm trying with these Japanese names, they're not easy. Couldn't have seen how popular the story would become, but Chainsaw Man is now one of the industry's most beloved titles these days. This means all eyes are on its future, as Fujimoto promised the manga is not over just yet, and we have finally gotten an update on how Part 2 is going behind the scenes. Goes on to say, the report comes straight from Twitter, courtesy of Shinhei Lin, the editor behind Jump Plus. They took to social media to share news from fans about Fujimoto's recent one-shot, and it was there Lin ended up spelling an update on Chainsaw Man Part 2. Says, according to Lin, Fujimoto is currently working on Part 2 of the manga. He has no release window to share at this time, but the editor is confident Fujimoto is working his hardest on Chainsaw Man. So if readers could wait just a bit longer, the editor and the manga creator would be obliged. This is the first concrete update fans have gotten on Chainsaw Man's manga since the series wrapped its first part a while back. When the manga ended, Fujimoto did confirm a part 2 would be released, but nothing else has been said about the comeback since December 2020. Now it looks like Fujimoto is focusing their time on Chainsaw Man, and this news couldn't make fans any happier if it tried. The debut of Part 2 will only continue to elevate Chainsaw Man, which has over 12 million copies in circulation globally these days, and if its anime slated for late 2020 to drop, there is no telling how much further Chainsaw Man will go. Well, if fans of the manga like the series, well, it's going to go far like any other manga that's been adapted into an anime. And this coming from someone who's still relatively new to anime. How do you feel about this latest Chainsaw Man update? Well, hey, if it's popular and fans enjoy it and they want to see more, then give them more. Just, just got to be patient for it. Patience is a virtue. What do you guys think?
I don't know anything about this anime, man. So
Me either.
Neither do I. But I'm sure there's gonna be somebody who does, and
but I'll look into it. I'll do my homework, Mike.
I'll do my research, and
I'll do some research, and I guess.
I mean, let's face it, manga and anime are pretty much exploding right now compared to everything else that we're getting in entertainment and comics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
manga is something that I've only recently started to get into, so I'm not really up to date. I'm not really familiar with this one, so no, I can't speak to it. Um, hopefully, it's good. So, all right, if it is, yeah, great.
Yeah, and that's all people want is something good.
Yeah.
They want to be entertained, whether it's movies, TVs, or in this case, a manga.
Yep.
They want an immersive story.
When it comes to like the manga and the anime discussions, I tend to, and I've been invited on a couple of them before, and I'm thinking, I don't really know enough to carry the conversation. I'd rather just be like in the chat, listening and learning. Brandon, the anime guy, I watch his shows on the weekends. It comes on after mine, and that's kind of where I get all of the anime and manga skinny from.
Yeah, it's because of Brandon. I've actually checked out a few of the shows that have been recommended either by him or his guest.
Yeah, I just recently started watching Hellsing Ultimate.
That's a great series.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the first animes I actually liked was My Hero Academia. Before that, I tried Dragon Ball Z, and I just couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the other day I watched the 1983 Golgo 13 movie. And I really enjoyed that. And I've watched Ghost in the Shell and Akira.
Yeah.
Or Akira, however you pronounce it correctly. Somebody please correct me in the chat. I mean, there is, let's be honest, there is good entertainment, but you do have to look for it.
Yeah, you have to look for it. There was a not an anime, but a movie last year that was an independent Western called Old Henry. That is fantastic, but nobody saw it, and it never got advertised or really much of anything. It's floating around. I think Showtime or something has it, and it's on VOD, and there is a Blu-ray. But the good original content is out there. It's just it gets pushed to the background.
Mm-hmm. Gets pushed to the background in favor of other shows or movies that, let's face it, some of us don't really care for.
No.
And let's see, DJ Ronnie G is saying, I watch only the good anime. He also goes on to say, I was all about OG UC Universal Century Timeline Gundam for a long time. Gundam is the Star Trek of Japan. I have actually seen the first Gundam movie, and that's when I had a Netflix subscription. and I really enjoyed that. And no, it wasn't dubbed. It was in the original Japanese. I just read the text.
And that's one thing that I think might turn some people off is, subtitles. I don't mind subtitles, because I pretty much got raised on kung fu movies, and then eventually graduating up to sort of like the films of Akira Kurosawa and whatnot. So because my father was retired Air Force, and he was stationed in Japan at one point in his career.
Okay.
But he really immersed himself into sort of like Japanese culture, and so he watched. He was a big fan of like Kurosawa and Seven Samurai and whatnot. So he sort of sat me down one time and said, watch this, and yeah. So I because of course I knew what the Magnificent Seven was. I'd always seen that, the Western, which was the American remake, but I hadn't seen Seven Samurai. So the first chance he had of showing that to me, so here I am, this young kid watching this 3.5 hour almost subtitled Japanese language movie about samurais, and just being mesmerized by it, and and I'm watching it to this day. So I'm somebody who doesn't mind watching a subtitled foreign language film. I prefer it over the dubs. Now, I mean, if you want to put on some dubbed kung fu, badly dubbed kung fu movie, that's fun too, because it's still fun, because I grew up as a kid watching kung fu theater on USA Network on Saturdays, and after Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner are over, you go over and you watch a David Chang movie, or Alexander Fusheng, and all of these other all of these kung fu stars, these guys who came after Bruce Lee, and like watching these movies. Like I brought up Alexander Fusheng. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he was in a lot of those movies, and he was also a martial artist and actor who died quite young. But I didn't know that. That he was another actor who was already like dead for a few years when I started watching his movies. But so I mean, myself personally, I long story short, I'm someone who doesn't mind watching a foreign language movie. I don't have a problem reading the subtitles, and I will rate a film from another country the same way I would rate an American movie. I mean, is it entertaining? Does it make me think about a certain subject? And there are certain things that are going to be an acquired taste. Like I said, anime is not my forte, but I've seen things that I like. And if I can find it in the original, in the original Japanese, if I've got to sit through some subtitles, then I can do it. It's just that, is it good? Is it entertaining? Is it worth taking the time to sit down and watch? That's the way I look at it.
I mean, that's how you need to look at it. Are you getting your value? And what I mean by your value is, are you getting your time well spent?
Right.
I probably could have articulated that better.
No, I see what you mean, because and I've said this on other streams. I would rather watch a movie from 30 or 40 years ago, or a TV show from 30 or 40 years ago, than anything that you see today, because everything is just either at worst the message, or at best boring or mediocre. I mean, if you want me to, if you give me a choice between Predator or something from Phase 4 Marvel, I'm going to watch Predator.
I'm right there.
Why? Because it's entertaining, because it's a good story, and it's well made, and you have good characters who all have their own individual arcs. Character development. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would rather. It's like we don't have to worry today if something that comes out present day sucks. We have a whole library. I'm looking behind myself right now. I've got like about a couple of hundred Blu-rays and DVDs that go back. Some of them when they first started making DVDs. And I can pick out any one of a number of them and be entertained. This is the thing. Is Hollywood took their eye off the ball. They had a chance during the pandemic to be the heroes and keep us entertained, and they didn't. And what they did was they gave us what I don't know who said it at the beginning of the stream. Just gave us this nihilistic crap that we can't sit through.
Very true.
So I mean, so I can understand why anime and manga has had this groundswell here in America, because we are now, starved for good entertainment. And if as long as the wokeness doesn't seep into that, and I don't see the Japanese leaning forward into into wokeness. I don't think they would put up with it. Not the old school types anyway. Would not put up with that shit. So they're going to. So I mean, there are places that we can go. We just got to go and look. And if anime is where we got to go, then let's go.
So let's find our entertainment.
Yeah. Or make it ourselves.
I mean, that's what we do here on YouTube. We all make content that, there are people who enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like, Saturdays. Saturdays are when I usually try to tune into Pop Culture Minefield, because I love hearing the discussion you all have on Saturdays. Not to say I don't watch the other shows, that you guys have on the channel during the week. I try to catch all the shows that you guys have, but the Saturday show is the one I really look forward to.
Yeah, because with the and the Friday show is good too, but the Friday show is more, usually there is a topic, but yes, on the Saturday show there's more like this, we can go through sort of different stories and get everybody's opinion and get to engage a little more with the chat. I mean, one of the things that I like to do when I do the morning show, which I've in recent weeks have been hosting solo because, as you know, Matt was recently married, so he's enjoying marital bliss and he's trying to get a business up off the ground, and so it's kind of left to me to kind of do the morning show. So one thing I like to do is to engage with the chat and get everybody and get these sort of differing opinions, and I'm and don't be afraid to tell me if I'm wrong, and that's why I do it. I'm the guy in the chat who has now been sucked in through the fourth wall, and now I'm hosting a show, and now I get to appear on Pop Culture Minefield, and I get to be on your show, and hopefully someday soon I'll get to be on Captain Fandom Nerd Show. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but getting my schedule to mesh has been a bit crazy. Because I have this I got to go to work.
This little thing about paying your bills and
there's this whole paying the bills and keeping the roof up, adulting. I got to do that now, and and I'm a one-man band right now, so it's not like there's extra income coming in. I could start an OnlyFans page, I suppose. I don't know who would want to see it, but I'm kidding. Anyway, yeah, it's and because during the I don't want to say lockdown because I tried to live my life, as normally as I could under the circumstances, without putting too fine of a point on it. I did not place myself under house arrest. Let's put it that way. So but with theaters being shut down, the local comic book store had to close down for a while. I turned to YouTube because that's what was there. So and I got to meet all of you, and I got to meet people in the chat, and then people started inviting me on, and long story short, here I am.
I mean, that's almost how it started for all of us on the panel. We found YouTube. We found YouTube channels that we liked their content, so we kept going back, and then we get this idea in our head. You know what? I'm going to start my own.
Yeah, exactly. And granted, I'm a small channel in the scheme of things. But it's but it's the fact that I've gone on to these other channels and people have encouraged me. Hey, go out and make your own channel. Come on to my show and we'll talk. And all that. I'm a guy with a laptop sitting in his living room. That's all I am. Public speaking, as you can tell, is not necessarily my forte, but I think I've gotten a little bit better. There's a lot of dead air because I'm trying to be careful about what I say about it. I don't want to get anybody's channel yeeted, because I've seen that happen. But and I'm glad that it's not an echo chamber, and we can, agree to disagree on things. I can say, hey, I didn't like the new Halloween movie, and have everybody tell me, no, you're full of shit. It was great. And then, well, have you seen half of the reviews? Half of the people on YouTube agree with me. That's fine. That's neither here nor there. But it's I don't watch regular anymore. I don't. I called DirecTV the other day, and hey, you know what? Where do I turn in the box? Because I don't want this anymore. Because what's the point? 600 channels of people telling me I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, and
because I want to be treated with respect.
My late mother used to say, we have 2,987 million channels, and there's not a single thing to watch.
No, there's not. There really isn't. I mean, I can name a few things off, but I mean, in the scheme of things, no. I mean, there's not really anything out there worth watching. And what are they going to do? They're going to take. All right, let's take as an example CW. How many shows did CW just cancel?
A nice amount. I don't
remember the most of it.
Amount, but yeah,
most of their content is gone because they chose to go into the direction of DC. It didn't work. Well, their version of DC anyway, and it didn't work. And they finally got the message, and they canceled all of these shows. And so what did they got? So I don't know if you've seen their fall schedule, but their fall schedule is basically spin-offs of the shows that are left. Yeah. Like you have their Walker Texas Ranger reboot, and then right after it is going to be the spin-off show.
Wow.
All American, and then the All American spin-off show. It's ridiculous. They're not even trying. The networks are not trying. Cable is not trying. Cable news is not trying. A CNN Plus lasted a month. And then David Zaslav went, what? Get rid of this. Out.
Yeah, it's cutting all the dead weight.
Yeah. It is time, That's how I looked at it when when I said that I wanted to get rid of the DirecTV, and they're literally trying to talk me out of it on the phone. Yeah, would you like a cut? No, you're not understanding. I'm not trying to get out of paying my bill or, change a $58 a month bill down to a $48 a month. I'm telling you, your content is crap. There is nothing there. I am not going to pay, X amount of dollars a month for 600 channels I'm not watching.
Yeah, because they tried to do and they tried to do the same thing to my mom when she canceled her DirecTV service, saying, but you've been a customer of ours for over 20 years. She says, yes, and I don't even watch it like I used to. So why am I going to pay for a service that I'm not even watching?
Now, Resolute German, the chat is saying CW will be off the air in 3 years at most. I think that's true.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he's right, or she's right. I don't know. I don't want to misgender you, Germ, but he. Okay, cool. He's absolutely right. There will be no CW in 3 years. Not the way they're going. Because it's just, spin-offs of the shows they have left and reality programming, quote unquote reality programming, which of course we all know is scripted. But
yeah, I was gonna say it's all scripted.
Yeah, the only realistic show on television is Deadliest Catch. What happens on Deadliest Catch? Those guys lose a boat a year. They lose a crew a year. because that's a dangerous job, and they're out in the middle of the ocean. And if something goes wrong, chances are nobody's going to be able to get out there and save them in time. That's
It's a dangerous
reality.
job.
Yeah. So, which makes my point that Deadliest Catch is one of the few shows on television, as far as I'm concerned, is worth watching. You know, that and Master Chef Junior, because I get a kick out of 8-year-old kids cooking food that I haven't even heard of. So there's that or the original NCIS, because I'm old. And I've been watching that show for 20 years, and I'm not going to stop now. But
It's a good show,
yeah.
especially in the early seasons.
Oh yeah, because it never forgot what it was, and it never tried to be any more than what it was.
And that's another problem with a lot of these shows. They try to be what they're not.
Yeah.
You have Star Trek in name only, yet it's not Star Trek. It's trying to be everything but Star Trek.
No. You can stamp a label on it all you want, but that doesn't mean that we as an audience are going to put our own rubber stamp on it. We're not, because we expect, we expect more. There's this quality. There's a severe quality drop off, and well, we didn't make it for you, so don't watch it. And we don't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the show fails, and they go, well, why? How come you didn't watch our show, you racist?
Because you told us not to watch the show, because
you told us
said it
not to
wasn't
watch.
made for us.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan. Do I like the way the Cubs are going right now? Not a bit. And I'm going to say so when I do a recap. Now, I'm not always going to rant and curse about it, but I'll say what I've seen on the field. And I'll say, this team is, you get what you pay for. And since the Cubs went cheap, the Cubs aren't really a team that can contend and stay in games. No, I'm going to still watch the games when I can, but I'm not going to be all homer and go, it's okay, guys, we'll get him tomorrow because, you got to look on the bright spot. No, if I see a guy who went 0 for 4 one day because he was swinging at pitches outside the zone all day, well, then I'm going to call him on that. And my point of saying that is we can't be afraid to call Hollywood out on their poor quality of entertainment. We as fans need to be vocal. We are the folks who pay their salaries. If we don't watch their shows, then the advertisers don't get paid, and the studios don't get paid, the directors don't get paid, the crew doesn't get paid, the actors don't get paid. It's like, if fans don't go to a game, guess what? That means ticket prices will probably have to go down at some point. The team's not going to improve because the customers are saying, no, I'm not going to go watch a team or watch a TV show where I already know the outcome before I've even seen the first episode or the game started. You're just not going to do that, at least in my opinion.
No, I agree, absolutely.
I mean, Cash, you're a Dodger fan. Would you be supportive of the Dodgers if they went on a long period like the Pirates where they were losing consistently year in and year out? I don't know if Cash is still there, but
You muted, Cash.
How about you, Captain Phantom Nerd? I mean, you root for the Royals. How does it make you feel when, the Royals don't put a competitive team out there?
Little frustrated. Let's put it that way. I get a little upset.
Well,
okay, I get a little more than a little upset, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I'm sorry for laughing, but I was reading what Resolute Germ said. The only bright spot to baseball is one day it'll all end and the suffering will be over. Yeah, once that out's recorded and the game's over, it's like finally I don't have to see any more of that bad pitching or bad hitting or whatever. It's like with these shows, Naomi gets canceled by the CW. Well, you're going to cancel a show like Naomi because it's not doing well in the ratings. Because according to Az, it's not a good show. So I
didn't heard of that character until there was a show.
Yeah. But I think on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of Sunday Morning Pop Talk. I do want to thank you for coming on, Deleted Scene. Cash, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Captain, thank you for coming on. Anono Mass, thank you for coming on. And also the Smoking Patriot. I do want you all to know that I have put your links to your channels in the description down below. And speaking of your channels, is there anything you'd like to take this time to promote?
Okay, I'll come on. Right, I am Deleted Scenes. I do have my own channel now, and my goal is to have 100 plus subs by my birthday next month. And so far, so good. I think I'm up to somewhere in the mid 60 range. I have reviews on my channel on The Northman, the Amazon series Outer Range, and I recently saw the Alex Garland horror film Men. That's, I think, probably going to be very divisive. I have some. I think there are definitely some pros and cons to that film. I might need a rewatch to really nail down what my final thoughts on it are going to be. But so if anybody's interested, those are the current reviews on my channel, and I'm planning on seeing Top Gun this week, so expect some videos about that. And of course, you can find me on Pulp Culture Minefield on Fridays and Saturdays, Rambling Canuck, Jedi Bill, and I'll be there in the chat.
All right. How about you, Cap?
Just got morning brew so far Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Central.
Very cool, very cool. And you're also a part of Tuesday Night Trek with Cash and myself. And speaking of Cash, how about you? Anything you want to promote?
No, not yet. I'm still working on some stuff right now for the channel, so
okay.
Yeah, hopefully soon there'll be some more content up soon, just not yet.
Trust me, I know it takes time, especially when you're trying to edit the video and you're trying to create the thumbnail, and you look at the thumbnail at one point and you go, I need to change something out of that.
Yep.
Or I've even had it where I'm in the middle of editing a video and I go, no, I need to fix this.
Right.
I don't know I did that. Let me fix that. And okay, good. It's up there now. So the next thing that's coming on this channel is I am going to upload my recap of today's Diamondbacks Cubs game. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but I'll have it uploaded sometime before the night's over. And Wednesday, it'll be a special start time for Pop Talk at 7 o'clock Eastern, as we will be celebrating the original Star Wars. And then Thursday, it's going to be a countdown. Not just any countdown, it's going to be a countdown to the Orville Season 3 New Horizons. And that it's going to be an open panel, as is Pop Talk on Wednesday. So anybody who wants to talk Star Wars on Wednesday, come on and talk Star Wars. Anybody who wants to talk about the Orville New Horizons on Thursday is welcome to join the panel and talk the Orville New Horizons on Thursday. That show will start at 8 o'clock Eastern, while the Star Wars themed Pop Talk will start at 7 o'clock Eastern. I have also decided that for this week, I will not be recapping any of the Cubs games. I need a break. I'm not even going to be watching the games.
That bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't kept up with baseball for a number of years, so I don't know who's doing what these days.
Yep, that's what I have planned on the channel. And real quick, I do want to thank those who are in the chat. Thank you, Resolute Germ, for coming by and watching the show. Thank you to, oops, did it again. DJ Ronnie G, thank you very much. I also want to thank, of course, Steven, thank you very much. And
thank you for having me on.
Not a problem, brother. I want to thank Gangstas, Mafia, and Cash Are You, also known as Games, Comics, and Movies Are Us. Thank you, brother. I also want to thank Dick Marks. Thank you very much, brother. And I also want to thank, keep on going up, I want to thank Bone. Thank you. Always nice seeing you. And keep scrolling up. The Pad I Wannabe, thank you very much, brother, for stopping by. And scroll up a little more. Anono Mass, thank you for coming by and also joining us here on the panel. It was nice to see you. Cap Stargate, it's nice to see you as well, brother. And let's keep going here. And of course, Captain Fandom Nerd, thank you for coming by, watching the show, and joining the channel, brother. And let's see, anybody else? I don't want to forget anybody. Nope, that was everybody in the chat. And for all of you who watched this on the replay, thank you very much. If you like what you see here, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like what you see here, give it a thumbs down. And share this stream with your friends. Subscribe to the PACIFIC414 YouTube channel. And always remember, I'm not just a baseball guy, I'm an all-around guy. Have yourselves a great Sunday, and as always, take care.